leading. Objection leading. Objection leading. Objection hearsay. Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive. Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive. Objection hearsay. And lack of foundation. Objection relevance. Objection compound. Objection leading. Objection hearsay. Objection hearsay.
I'll sustain the objection.
Move on.
WNBC golf clap. There's Melvin. He saw Camille's face, and out of nowhere, there's welcome.
Well, she should be next to him, so he shouldn't get so excited seeing her on the computer.
I should be jaded by now.
She's sitting
Melvin
next to him.
Lewis, Hooper, 45, Scott Balo, Gary Puppet, and A. Smith with a Jump Street review on a Deppless episode. We should probably just... Nobody wants to know about the episodes he's not in. And Ben Benjamin. Phenomenal job, Sarah. I mean, it's just all I hear when I hear that music. I just public domain, fair use, public domain, fair use.
No, that is a copyright-free version of the circus theme. I know what I'm doing.
Sarah, lose that so Gary Public can spank it here on.
No, that's all right.
I was just shut him down. I want to say Happy Mother's Day to one of the great moms, proving being a mom is not a full-time job. Amber Laura Heardzilla.
Yeah.
Who makes Casey Anthony look like Tiger Lily, I might say.
The scariest and saddest part of this entire thing is that's a mother.
Isn't it? You circle back to that all the time. And happy Mother's Day to truly all the moms in our chat, whether it's an actual kid or a pet.
Mm-hmm.
Because we know how you broads love your pets like your own, and I respect that. I didn't years ago, but I do now. I get it. I truly get it. And that Catstronaut cartoon character you have who makes its way into all our videos, Camilla.
Yes, she has already been scolded today, and it's been a long day with her. So it's been a long week. Yeah, we have a lot of crap to get to too. So.
And I appreciate all that. My little request that the collaboration on this was, I think you worked a lot harder than even I realize.
You mean those last second requests you had?
The voiceover recording session with Jennifer Gray's book, and which I just heard little blurbs of it, and I can't wait to hear the whole thing. You do such a good job on as the judges too. You're actually a harder hitting lawyer than the actual lawyers in this case. I swear to God, when I go back and listen to the reenactments, you actually do a better job than they do.
Well, we'll see. Oh my gosh. Yeah, last night, context, sorry. I get a request to record a voiceover reading the entire Johnny Depp section of Jennifer Gray's book. It's the first thing I see when I get home.
In all fairness, I offered to do it. I just thought it would be better coming from abroad.
I get it. Car breaks down 50 miles from home yesterday. It has to be towed to their local dealer. So I get there, they don't have loaner cars. The dealership gives me a ride all the way home.
And it's a Saturday, so you're dealing with...
I have no car.
Right.
I have to get an Uber as soon as they say the car's ready, because I don't know if it's covered under warranty yet. Happy Mother's Day.
Well, but at least it's probably covered. If you have, it sounds like most people, I've had stuff like that with Safeco, roadside, and everything was more covered than I realized. You're so fastidious, I bet.
Yeah.
Everything's covered.
We shall see.
Gary Puppet, your mom really in a rehab facility? That's horrible. She'll get through. I mean, I'm a drinking coach. If you need my services.
Well, we don't know if it's that kind of rehab.
We don't know. You're right.
Could be medical. I've been through that plenty too with relatives. So, but
welcome Pell. Welcome Arnold Strong, Numero Uno, and the archives.
Mm-hmm. I'm catching up on chat.
No, we're good. I just want to tell the chat up front. We're trying to keep up with everybody. I try to really, really home in on everybody's particular comments. I mean, I'm not every little one was like, hey, within reason. But Sarah's got a lot to juggle, and she's handling the chat, so bear with us.
I don't
we
have
don't
the
get to.
skills of arm
Nah,
doing
nah, you're way
500
more
things at once.
multitasking, bitch. Beesh.
Yeah, thanks. You ready to start? Jump into this?
Yes. So let's explain the premise here. It's a eclectic. Um, I guess you'd say it's almost like doing Depp lines or the Depp news, but it's like permeates. So there's no the whole Deppesode. So it's a lot of stuff we've gleaned from the trial that we didn't feel got enough attention. I focus on the salacious stuff. It's almost the way I do with the Radio Gunk and Howard. I look for the dog whistle, the stuff no one's looking at. You know, the stuff where the humanoids don't. So I pinpointed a few moments that I feel need explaining that no one's gonna explain to you anywhere ever. Happy Mother's Day, David. Right, to Vanessa Paradis, who, of course, the real mom in this whole scenario. Exactly,
Yeah.
David.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, and one of them, the things that we put in this video, it's now been beat to death since we started to string all this together, but we'll cover it anyway. We have a theory that is not getting as much attention as it should. I think it's the proper theory to have because it's probably the truth. You'll understand what I mean when we get to it.
That's something that's so salacious. It may make you fall out of love with our hero's journey because it's
Yeah.
impossible to. It's indefensible, and it's Am I making static noises? But
Yeah, a little bit. I didn't even.
I don't hear it. But that's not for me to. You want me to replug in?
Yeah, go ahead. I'll
Okay,
mute you.
try it.
So, okay. We have probably well over an hour of little tiny video clips, things that you may have missed, things I would like you to see. I would love to play the Australia audio. I did not include that this time. We will cover that later. But if that gets played in court by some miracle, I think it's done. It's she's clopping around in high heels with these allegedly cut up feet, screaming about how sorry she is. She didn't mean to cut his finger off. It's done if that gets approved to be played. Unfortunately, there are other people in the audio, so for some reason that can't be played. And that is quite unfortunate because, like I said, that would end everything. She would be in tears in a heap on the floor.
Now, hello, Greenpoint.
It's a little,
Hello,
still a
Greenpoint.
little bit.
Shit. Is it just as bad?
It's about the same.
Maybe try a different USB port.
Yeah, do that.
You wanna hang up and log back in again? Maybe that's
Yeah, I'll remove you and hit the link.
okay.
Okay. Bear with me a second. Okay. Try not to ban him from the studio and just kick him out. Okay. So if he can hear me somehow, just hit the link that I sent you earlier and get back in. I'm going to catch up on some chat since I have the opportunity. Did you see the pic of Amber holding the baby? Yes, I've seen that. The sympathy baby. But she's working out, guys, for Aquaman 2. I read a tweet today from a verified, which doesn't mean anything, writer woman. Hold on, let me add him here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We'll see how it goes.
How about now?
I think so far it's better.
I mean, I changed USB ports which sometimes helps.
Yeah, we'll just barrel through it. It's not that bad.
You still hear it?
I don't hear it
Okay,
so
good.
far. It
Okay.
wasn't that bad before, but
Yeah, it
we'll
was
get through it.
you know, fucking Ben Benjamin's such a audio slave.
Yeah. Anyway, what I was saying, the writer woman that was on Twitter, she was saying that Amber Heard has, per source, of course, been cut out of Aquaman 2. And
Oh, good. You starting with that? Yeah, you told me that. Okay. And
yeah, I
who's the
want to get
writer,
that.
Sarah? Who's the source?
I can't pronounce her name, of course, which helps a
Try
lot
me.
here.
Try me. Try me.
Not Aziz Ansari, but it's something similar to that.
Okay. Okay.
So
And
I'm getting through
the first
barreling through
name
some
is?
chat. I don't
Okay.
remember. It starts with an A.
I mean, we conjectured this. This has been going on. We for 2-3 years. if anything, the Depp team, even if one of the jurors rule against him, look at this as the victory. I mean, the goal is to almost ruin her career like it is his. So the goal, I mean, the number one thing you want to do, and if you're Warner Brothers, I think about this all the time. They have to be huddling every fucking day watching this trial and going, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Don't think for a minute they're apathetic about this. They are going, they'd shot around her and even shoot. And obviously this trial was delayed, so she could shoot Aquaman 2 and get paid for it. The bottom line is she got her salary. There's no way they're not going to be able to pay her.
Yeah. Unfortunately. You do have a little bit of static, but go ahead and just move your mic up a little bit. Are you directly on the mic?
No.
Okay.
Benjamin sounds I sound good. That's who initially critiqued it.
Yeah, I heard a little bit of static. Who cares, though? We'll move on. Okay, if it gets bad, we'll figure it out.
Motherfucker.
It's like every fifth word.
Okay.
We have more video than talking today, probably, so we'll get through it.
Okay.
Okay, you ready to get started?
Yes.
Okay, let me start this video here.
Scott Bill doesn't hear anything. I trust him implicitly.
All right.
I trust Alaria too.
Oh, shut up. Okay, so the first thing we've got was a moment that has been, it's one of those moments that's now been kind of talked about quite a bit, but I'm going to play it and we'll discuss it. And there's something I want you to watch afterwards, something that she doesn't want in. It's taken from her deposition that she did back in 2016.
Andrew Morgan, The Deafening.
Her back was to the staircase, and Johnny swings at her, and I just see my little sister with her back to the staircase, and Johnny swings at her, and I don't even wait for any other, I don't hesitate, I don't wait, I just in my head instantly think of Kate Moss and the stairs, and I swung at him. And all of my relationship to date with Johnny,
Pausing. What a dumb bitch.
Now, what's your theory behind Kate Moss?
You know her attorneys told her, keep that name out of your mouth, because that opens the door now for Kate Moss to come in as a witness, whether it be via deposition or I doubt in person, but that also brings in the opportunity for them to discuss her domestic violence arrest back in, what was it, 2009? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, with Taja Van Ree, the name we know from this podcast.
Seattle or airport.
Her former wife. This is back in 2016. The next clip here is from her deposition where they're asking her about that domestic violence arrest. Notice the difference between her demeanor on the stand this time and how she acts in the deposition.
Okay, let's lay this out. This is from 6 years ago. Yeah. So this is August of 2016 when they originally, and so she's just looks like, you talk about crazy eyes. She's just frantically munching on, what do you think, with snack whales? What the fuck is she eating?
I don't think she's eating during, she's not eating during this part, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that part is infuriating. When you watch her eat, you just, she's so hateable, like then and now, and there's never a time when she looks credible. I mean, even this is 6 years ago, and she looks worse there, probably.
Yeah, she would, during her deposition, she would eat. So she would be allowed a moment to chew and think of her answer.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you're about to see the real Amber Heard here. Okay, you ready?
Hadn't landed a blow. And I, for the first time.
Isn't it true that you've been previously arrested for committing domestic violence against your spouse?
I'm going to irrelevant, harassing, has nothing to do with this proceeding. It's argumentative. Go ahead and explain how you want to.
There was no domestic violence within that relationship, and the state of Washington, where I was arrested, immediately dropped the charges because they knew the exact same thing that I just told you, that no domestic violence ever occurred. And my ex has stated such. In fact, it was so ridiculous, those charges. It was a verbal argument, it was misinterpreted, misrepresented, and completely overreacted upon by two individuals in a power position. And as soon as they found out that we were partners, which we were not going to be arrested for before, as soon as they found out we were partners, the male cop, not this other woman who's later been brought into the press, this male cop put me in handcuffs, and that's there was no physical violence, no physical abuse, and zero domestic violence whatsoever between us.
Okay. What happened? They'll mention it here. She was at SeaTac Airport, which is south of Seattle, and the officer, plural, witnessed them yelling. She reached up, grabbed and broke a necklace off her wife's neck, and then either punched or slapped her in the arm. So the two officers went over. The male put her in handcuffs. The female officer, they later accused both officers of being homophobic. The female officer came out later afterwards and said, "I'm not homophobic, I am a lesbian." So
there's a lot more female cops on the force everywhere. Every scenario with this trial, there's a female cop in every single scenario. There's way more females that are becoming cops now. I feel like they're so ubiquitous, and in some ways it's important, in some ways it's not, because let's face it, there are physicality situations. It's like having an NBA ref who's a female, and Ben Wallace is fighting Jermaine O'Neal. You gotta refs break those fights up. She ain't doing shit. So it's a ridiculous. And in this case, there are female cops that just cannot handle the physicality. But you need sometimes a female to translate and communicate with other females because of the kind of, or just in terms of I guess just
gaining trust.
Gaining trust. Yes.
Yeah.
But there's tons of female cops now, and I see them in my travels way more than I did certainly when I was a kid.
All right, let's get through her. She is nasty, and this is her former attorney that's being a snot.
Female or ubiquity.
Yeah.
Let's add everybody that. Andrew Morgan, Babe Lewis, Isla, who did I forget? I Love You, but N.A., said Pelel Affy, Dorian Morgan, and Andrew Morgan. Welcome, and we said W too.
Yep.
It was a trumped-up charge, and it was dropped immediately for being such.
Isn't it a fact, Ms. Heard, that in fact on September 24th, 2009, you were arrested for domestic violence committed against Tasha Van Ray?
Asked and answered. Isn't that what you just talked about?
Did I miss something?
Isn't it a fact, Ms. Heard, that on September 14th, you were in fact taken to jail? It wasn't dropped immediately.
Same objections, Vegas.
Same objections.
Isn't it a fact, Ms. Heard, that you spent the night in jail from September 14th to September 15th, 2009, as a result of your arrest for domestic violence?
Same objections. It's irrelevant.
Is that true?
352. She's already answered what happened. It's
Is that
vague.
true?
It's argumentative. It's harassing. You just want to, get your harassment in. Go ahead.
Let the record reflect Mr. Harder's directing her not to answer. Did you
I
spend the night in
answered you.
jail?
I never said don't answer. I never said that.
Reporter is about to.
That's not my fault.
Yes, it is.
Because she keeps cutting me off every time I say something.
Look at how she
There's
gets
no
off
need
on
to
that.
yell, Mr.
Yeah.
Well, I have to be heard. Everyone's talking over me. You've got a whole wall of lawyers over there who are
Ms.
talking over me.
May I continue?
Except for Hans.
Can I say something?
Ms. Heard, Ms. Heard, isn't it a fact that Tasha Van Ray on September 14th, 2009 claimed to the police that you had hit her arm?
Same objection.
No?
I don't know anything about this.
Answer give a full answer, please.
I don't know anything about the claim that you just made about what Tasha said or did not say. I can't possibly know that. I know nothing about what you just said.
Isn't it a fact that on September 14th you hit Tasha Van Ray in her arm?
No.
Action.
Isn't it a fact on September 14th you broke the necklace off of Tasha Van Ray's
She can't see.
neck?
352,
A
it's
necklace.
irrelevant to these
Hate that name
proceedings.
so much.
Argumentative harassing.
Isn't it a fact that Tasha Van Ray reported to the police that you had hit her arm?
352, irrelevant, vague, argumentative, and harassing.
And speculation.
Isn't it a fact, Ms.
It's
Heard,
heard still.
that you know very well that your spouse, that your domestic partner, Tasha Van Ray, requested that you be arrested for domestic violence?
Calls, you need to please let me get my objections in, okay? Please.
Wow.
Okay. So we have one more. This is pretty much just her testifying. I wanted to play these just so you can see the difference over what, between what she's portraying
it's
now.
also stuff they won't. It's not admissible to this current trial. They're not harping on.
Yeah.
So we've not heard the Tasha Von Ree stuff to any longevity in this. It's been briefly referenced, but they gloss over it. It's objected, and they move all the. If you know, ironically, in this trial, all the great stuff is objected. Like all the stuff I really want to hear is the object, and you'll hear me like on the Deppening live stream, just gasp in annoyance and frustration. I want to hear it for the entertainment, even if it's coming from the other side. When Aunt Bonnie was going into the stuff with his kids and Rochelle Hathaway, which we're all going to get to both of them and later, I get so pissed because I want to hear a more expansive answer. Andrew Morgan writes, "This is some women want to clean houses, some want to clean the streets."
I had to cough. I had to mute you. Sorry. Yeah, I laughed. I had to mute while I read that comment.
Ugh.
All right, let's get through this, and then we will move on to something else.
And just a clarification, we're not going to invoke the Fifth Amendment privilege, so you can re-ask that question if you like.
Which question?
Did you commit domestic violence against Johnny Depp?
Anytime prior to May 22nd, 2016, did you ever commit an act of domestic violence against Johnny Depp?
Calls for a legal conclusion and irrelevant, but go ahead.
Do you understand what I'm asking you?
No.
No?
Yes, I understand what you're asking.
Okay. And prior to May 21, 2016, or May 22, 2016, is it your testimony that you never committed any act of what would be considered domestic violence against Mr. Depp?
Calls for a legal conclusion and irrelevant to these proceedings.
No, I did my best.
Did my
to
best.
Here we go.
defend myself
She changed
and
personalities.
not
It's eerie.
get seriously hurt
It's
or be a doormat to whom this happens to all the time.
Isn't it true, Ms. Heard, that you previously confessed and apologized to Johnny Depp for committing domestic violence against him?
I'm going to object. Calls for a legal conclusion, argumentative, harassing.
Isn't it true that you had previously told Johnny Depp
She looks
that you
sincere.
had hit him?
I'm going to object. It's a different question. It's vague and ambiguous, vague as to time.
big, ambiguous.
Many times when we fought, well, not many times, he hit me for a very long time before I ever
I'm going to
picked up my
object as
arms.
non-responsive and move to strike. Ms. Heard, I'd like you to listen to what I'm about to play. Would you do that?
What's your reaction?
Gotta really listen.
I know the volume's horrible.
Yeah, it's not you though. It's them.
It's audio we've already heard.
Do you recognize the voices on that tape? And who are the people on that tape?
It's Johnny and I.
Okay. And is Johnny describing an act where you made a door go into his head?
Objection, harassing, argumentative, vague.
I was trying to escape from a room where Johnny was attacking me. And in order to escape, I was trying to get onto the other side of the door, attempting to close the door, and he was attempting to get in despite my attempts to try and escape an assault.
Isn't it true that on this tape that was just played, you tell Johnny Depp you're sorry?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I remember hitting you as a response to the door thing.
She twisted that.
Did you just tell Johnny Depp in that recording that I remember hitting you as a response to the door thing?
Yes, as he was trying to get into the door, I was trying, into the room, I was trying to escape in. He pushed the door into me, and I was trying to hit him by getting him out of the door to stay in the room.
And you told him in that tape recording that you hit him, correct?
I don't know what words I used in that. You can play it back if you want, but I don't remember exactly how long.
If you wouldn't mind, if you'll continue to listen.
Okay.
I'm really sorry about hitting you with the door and hitting your head.
Did you tell Johnny Depp at that time you were speaking to him that you were really sorry for hitting him with the door, hitting him?
I think in that recording I made it very clear that I was sorry that
That
the
restrained
door
voice
he was
so
trying to get into
I
the
know.
room I was
tough to-
escaping or attempting to escape into.
I will mark
Almost done.
excuse me. I'd like you to listen to the following tape. This is punched. We need to have
Are they being marked as exhibits?
Yeah, mark as
We
exhibit.
just marked P as the one we just played,
Okay.
correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
If I'm sitting in a
Marking
deposition,
the next thing that I'm going
I'm
to
too
play
nervous to
you,
eat.
As
Oh God, I wouldn't even think
cue.
about. I
Would
wouldn't
you
even think about
listen to
ice
this,
during
please?
I'm not even sure ice would come into play.
No.
I want to get yeah, so what? I want to.
Let's keep on. Where's the disc?
He's talking in the audio. I bent over to check your toes, and you kicked the door in. What he testified in the.
I did not do anything to her. I did not kick at the door or push the door so that it would hit you. I did not. I swear. But that did not. It was not my intention. I think I remember when the door scraped my toes.
Okay. So you told him in that excerpt that you hit him with the door but did not intend to hit him, correct?
The recording speaks for itself.
Did you say that?
I said whatever I said in that recording. I
Okay.
don't. When you play it for me, it's hard for me
This
to
is
remember
her
every
deposition.
And that's a
2016.
recording marked as exhibit the punching.
Q, that we
Q.
just played.
Q. Would you continue to listen to exhibit Q?
Are these from the same day?
I reacted, but this whole the door thing. I remember.
Should skip ahead.
That was on purpose. I might have done it on accident.
Okay. But let's say that was an accident. I then stood up. I don't even know if I said, I might have said, like, what the f, you know, whatever. Because I just been hit in the head with the corner of the door.
I'm so sorry. I did not. I'm sorry.
And then I stood up. And then you flopped.
I remember hitting you as a response to the door thing.
She's trying to keep the bitch subside.
sorry about hitting you with the door or hitting your head. I did not mean to, nor.
You don't need to hit me in the head with the door, but you meant to
I did
punch me in the jaw.
I meant to hit you, and I did not do this thing with the door. I do remember, I did mean to hit you.
So that you didn't mean.
The door? No, God, no, I
Should I skip ahead a little bit?
Gina Bobina and NA think she's really pretty. She's 30 here, guys. So this is 6 years ago. Gina says, "Is this face number one?"
Yeah, this was, she apparently got the cheek implants a year later after this.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm going to go forward a bit.
Sure.
Okay.
Hello, Steph Taylor as well.
Moving.
Kylo Sierra Alpha, Gungadin. Hello.
Okay. All right. So that's pretty much why I wanted to play this. I think everybody picked up on it. That's not the same person.
But just as unconvincing, just as hideous, just as histrionic, just as crazy-eyed. David writes, she is the bitchy Gwyneth Paltrow head tilt as she listens, fuming, condescending, listening head tilt. That's a perfect way to describe what that is.
She looks down on everybody, even an attorney. Like, I would be in there giving a deposition, especially if you're like a victim. You know, you're trying to be respectful while you're getting your story out. You're not telling somebody it's Ms. Heard.
Yes.
It's still Ms. Heard.
That's all she's
and rolling
fixated
your
on.
eyes. Yeah.
I love you, Bud writes. Is this the year she claimed to go from 135 to 105 pounds?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, that's part of the con. I want to say this before I forget. Yeah, and this hit me during trial. I've probably said it, but can't reiterate. If you can't say it 10 times with her, she has this way of in every scenario, and they've said this, that she has not a stitch of, not only not sense of humor, or she can't make anything humorous in anything that she does or likable. She is the obvious professional victim. She's a world's greatest martyr, much like we say about Howard. She, in every scenario, always does the right, perfect, virtuous thing. Never admits to a scintilla of flaw in every story she tells. She is what one of the lawyers I listened to, gentleman's name, really avuncular guy. I like this guy. His name is Rick Hogue, and he's on like a Legal Bite show, and I think he has his own channel and shit. He used a word I've never heard in my life. He called her a fabulist. A fabulist. This guy's got some vocabulary on him too. I'm always jotting words down. I gotta write him and tell how much I enjoy his stuff. He called her a fab, and he's new to the whole thing. This is a guy who has no dog in the fight. Came in as a lawyer. What's going on? He knew Depp obviously and knew her less, and he's trying. So he, after analyzing the trial, a fabulist is someone, and Artie does this, and because the Depp connection with Stanhope, and I started to watch Bert Kreischer a lot. And these are guys who tell fantastical stories where everything crazy seems to happen to them at all times, and they're the focal point of the story. Something victimizes them in the story, and all this crazy shit seems to happen to them and only them. And this is kind of what it's such a great word. I'd never heard it before, but she is what they call a fabulist, where you're either embellishing or telling lies in everything that you do to make yourself into the hero or the martyr of the story. And that's what perpetually throughout this whole trial, could not describe her more better than that.
Yeah, you're right. And with that attitude also, the way she portrayed herself as like a caretaker for Lily Rose.
Yes, that again,
that's not.
Even bringing his own kids in, she's the hero of the story.
Oh, yeah. She wanted him to look at her. That's why she did that. Because he's been ignoring her the entire time. And good for him for doing
Pell
it.
said Bert Kreischer is known to lie and steal stories, but I know what you mean. Yeah. I you know it in every, and I don't hate Bert Kreischer. I get it with him. He's kind of like this Van Wilder party boy, kind of persona. He's fine. There's worse comedians out there. I don't hate him, but you can tell he's just like Artie, where it's these crazy stories over and over again that only happen to him.
Yeah. He is, makes me ill. I mean,
Thank you, Melvin, for that definition.
yeah, I kind of see why Bert Kreischer has a following, because there's a lot of guys that want to be a Bert Kreischer out in the world.
Yeah.
You know how much money he makes off that friggin' podcast?
I know, and it's 80% lies.
They are instant. You have a guaranteed
Him and
300,000
Tom
views
Segura,
on that
they're
podcast.
bookends, and they're supposedly doing a movie with Depp.
Oh
That he
God.
agreed to some kind of fucking Hangover knockoff. That he
We'll
agreed to
see.
do in some MDMA Pong game at his
Yeah.
at the Sweetser compound with Doug Stanhope.
Ugh. Thank you, Sunflower Dragon, for the $5 super sticker.
And all your effing great commentary and legalese, which I realize is so brilliant when I listen to the lawyers talk, because a lot of times they'll mirror what you said, like the day later, and she gets to it like in the moment. Really, I have this fantasy of I'm being represented by John O'Reilly and Sunflower Dragon. And John O'Reilly's kicking ass like he's Ben Chu, and then he gets COVID or something like in the middle of it. He just goes, Sunflower, I can't go on anymore. This is your time. This is what you've trained for all your life. And she steps in and finishes the trial. And
Yeah. Scott Balow has wrapped up Bert Kreischer in what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 words. Look at me. I took my shirt off. That's perfect.
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to finish or get to the next thing. This next one has been now talked about way too much, but I'm going to play it anyway because I think it's hilarious.
Fanfic. It's my legalese fanfic. David. Thank you, Andrew Morgan.
Yes, thank you, Andrew.
I'm using the word. Most of my words are 100 per. See, folks, this is the kind of value you get by listening to the Deppin. Andrew, thanks for all your, just in general, not only your humor and wit, but a lot of links you've brought. You're an animal. And by the way, congratulations to your son, Eric, ERICH, who won Ohio Big School Player of the Month or Player of the Week.
Wow.
Which is no small feat because there's a lot of good basketball. Ohio's a way better basketball state than New York is. I ain't sniffing that.
I never even got close to that. Yeah, even my best day.
Player of the county. I don't think I could even. I mean, I couldn't. No, not even close. Not even close.
Yes, congratulations. The next snippet I took from one of my favorite wrap-up shows on this trial is the Rekieta Law channel. I think he's hilarious. But he caught something the other day, and it kind of made the rounds on Twitter. I'm going to play it, and then I'll go back to it.
Welcome, Lucy Fire.
Well, he finished the process of detox in LA, and I had my friends out with my girlfriends there to support me as per usual. So Michelle, can you?
He's laughing because she's explaining that he's suffering on an island going through detox, and she's like, yeah, he sent me to a hotel so I could have all my girlfriends around me.
We've been goofing on that for months and months and months.
Okay.
Pull up 272, please.
I thought it'd be better if I got away from all this nastiness of detox and went to party with my friend.
With 7 residences.
Did you notice that? What happened?
Yeah.
She pauses, and then she looks over at the courtroom photographer, pauses, freezes, does a little freeze frame for him. He snaps her picture, and then she resumes.
In a hotel.
And after you both returned to LA.
Get out. Get out.
I love that. I don't know why.
She's been training for this for years to direct and to manipulate the jury and look, and everything is calculated. Even that snot rocket, everyone thinks is a booger.
I don't think it's.
No, she's
I'll
not
tell you
snorting
what
blow.
No, she's not. But it's not a booger. I'll tell you what I think it is.
Okay.
This next one is making the rounds too right now.
Now, when the jury is...
I gotta tell you something about this broad.
You love this. You love these two.
I can't stand her. There's something about her voice that ticks me off.
Legalese automaton for court TV.
Yeah, but in the courtroom, she's in there every day. She's sitting next to Amber Heard's PR guy, and they're kind of flirty the entire day, elbowing each other and patting each other. It's a very weird scene. And she's kind of supposed to be, neutral when she's wrapping up the court for the day, but I don't think that's what's happening. But they're gonna explain something that happened. That not maybe now it's making the rounds, but at the time, not a lot of people caught.
Look at horny Melvin already pouncing on. Acting in cop.
Jury box. Amber and Johnny crossing paths at times today because she's in the jury box. She's in the witness stand, and his table is right across. Describe for us what happened today.
Vinny, it happened in the morning once, but it wasn't as bad. This afternoon when I'm in there and it's mid-afternoon recess, whoa, here it is. Okay, this is the moment we're showing. She's leaving the witness box, and of course Johnny Depp has gotten up. You see his security detail walking over there, right there, maybe some eye contact.
Oh my
She immediately
she backs up into that, what is that, a flag or a coat hang?
I'm obsessed with David Schwimmer and Tim Burton had a kid as the bailiff.
Mm-hmm.
Between
revolts. Her body revolts. She backs into our camera, our Core TV camera right there. You see behind her. It wobbles, and then she looks to the bailiff, who then guides her along outside the courtroom. Now, off camera right there, we kind of cut out when she's walking across the level of the courtroom. I'm watching her, and she's visibly shaking, physically shaking, where I could tell several feet away, of course, from the gallery, and we could hear her starting to sob. It was like, I said, I didn't think she was going to make it out of the courtroom before she had a complete breakdown. And once that door opened, I could hear her get louder, and they shut the door, of course, but she really did seem affected by about almost running into her ex-husband there, Johnny Depp, and then, of course, what she was just telling the jury, reliving, it really did seem to affect her, and she didn't know that the cameras were really on her as she was making her way out of that courtroom.
Right, and, based upon the...
Everything she does is manufactured. She knows exactly what she's doing. It's like...
Let's not forget, after she filed for this temporary restraining order, she, 2 months later, calls him to a meeting, tries to get him in bed, tells him, am I gonna die without you?
That's got a pretty badass stare. That I love how you. So when I screen recorded this, you put insert eye roll.
Yeah.
I didn't realize Depp's got a pretty badass stare. He's got that the Donnie Brasco stare when he's looking at Sonny Red. When they insult him, they insult his clothes. He's got a badass stare. It's so funny. And again, is there a rule that she can't walk behind the judge to go the other way?
I don't think they can, because that desk looks like it goes all the way to the wall. The judge's that desk, you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think there's room to. But she should have, the blonde bailiff woman should have taken her off the stand immediately. Yeah. And he wasn't looking. I mean, of course, timing was off on both sides. He wasn't looking. He was talking to somebody, and he's just going out the door he normally goes out for every break.
He's also trying not to, so he's no peripheral vision with him. He's looking down and marching on to get to those brown cigarettes if he can get 3 in during this break. And he probably has a routine where just to get as many cigarettes as you can get in, maybe get a scarf on a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just marching on. She knows exactly what she's doing to trigger that.
Of course.
Judge Judy would never.
I'm going to guess that when she's sobbing, her eyes were dry, just like the first day.
Testimony today, this would be her going past the man she says sexually assaulted her as well. I mean, it's her ex-husband and all of that, but based upon today's testimony, I mean, you don't get moments like that often inside a courtroom. You just don't. Because if it's a criminal case, they are keeping people separated, at all times, making sure that nothing even close to that happens. Wow. All right.
Right, some very sometimes awkward dynamics, and juries pick up on this type of thing, and I noticed more jurors even today looking towards Johnny Depp as he reacted there in the chair. And this moment, of course, from earlier today, where it was a near miss. This was the mid-morning break. The mid-afternoon break is what we talked about earlier, which really seemed to affect Amber Heard as she backed into our camera, and then, of course, almost ran out of the courtroom like she was going to have a breakdown. But that was the first one. So trying to avoid each other. Now, there's times when Amber Heard's on the stand, but like I told you, she will look towards Johnny Depp as she's talking about him. I haven't yet seen him really look up towards her, but yet to react or maybe laugh at something she says to show his disdain or disagreement. He'll talk to his attorney sitting next to him or pass a note. Today, for the first time, I witnessed him pass a note to Camille Vasquez, the attorney making objections, who will cross-examine Amber Heard when this trial does resume March 16th, Vinny. And the jury, I did notice a couple of jurors today glancing their eyes over to Johnny Depp just to see how he was taking in what she was saying.
Yeah, when you take a look at that courtroom and the way it is situated and set up, it's very easy. I mean, Johnny Depp's on the side that's closest to the jury, right? And so it's easy for them to take a look at how he is reacting or not looking at her or smirking, smiling, whatever he's doing. They can see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a pretty decent, I mean, we're going to get inside the courtroom. So she said she burst into tears and tried to run outside into the hall. I remember the first day it was, they were just going over, what was the first day was just deliberations and they were establishing the jury. Day one, which we didn't, nobody, we were teasing and thinking that was the start of the trial. And there was not a rumor, apparently a few people saw this. She was just wandering around the halls trying to run into him in the same way.
She did that in the UK also.
Yes.
Yeah, Melvin, I have a question for you. He says, I don't get to say this a lot. I don't know what that means, but I agree with Sarah. This turquoise hoe is annoying as F. Those eyebrows are pretty high, honey. For me, and I don't want to talk about voices. My voice takes on this affect too, but her voice to me is just so clicky. Like she clicks.
David says she's got this like Holly Hunter Southern thing going on, where there's just a hint of sweet tea in her voice. Just, 10% Southern accent.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good. Holly Hunter is a great reference in that instance.
Yeah, Sunflower Dragon, she literally went to the private island after he sexually assaulted her, and the jury was already gone. They didn't see her performance. She's a histrionic lunatic. She knows the camera's on, though. She's playing to the public. And she knows people, her PR guy is feeding this court TV broad all of this information. And she knows that it's going to be reported on.
You talk about
she's heard sobbing.
A Herculean task is being her publicist PR people during this whole scenario and trying to spin positivity for her is an impossibility. I mean, she's an actress, and all she hears is people telling her what a horrible actress she is and she literally looks at this as an audition. I mean, she thinks casting directors, and this is her big moment. She's been preparing, and the more she prepares, the worse she looks. And there's no question that's, some of this shit's getting back to her. And all people can say what a horrible actress, what a horrible actress, what a horrible, and that's like the worst thing you could say to her. I think it's like the very worst thing you could say to her. Much more than saying you're a bad mom.
Well, in Australia too, I mean, going back to Australia, there was new video that was released. She was doing that movie, The Danish Girl, soon after Australia. And apparently she's a ballet dancer in the movie. There's a video that came out 2 days after she says she was assaulted with that bottle. She's rehearsing ballet with this guy. And I think she has bare feet.
Now that you say they have the Depp's team has footage of this?
Well, there's video, so I would assume her attorneys have it. And it's going to be played on
video yet?
Yes, I've seen it. She's doing plies. She's doing the ballet splits on the ground. You tell me how you do that after being assaulted with a bottle 2 days later.
We should have used it today.
I know I couldn't get it.
You couldn't get it?
I forgot all about it, so I couldn't.
Okay, we'll go next time. We get another show this week. They may not even use it. We'll definitely do it. I don't know, Thursday maybe.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, all right. Let me go into your favorite part here.
David goes, her preparation is akin to Howard reciting the script for why he couldn't go to Gary's dad's funeral. Answer questions no one asked, giving away way too many details. That's so good.
Yeah. Well, it's all about the carpet,
Yeah, she's obsessed with floors and carpets. And by the way, so she kept saying, She meant parquet floor when she kept saying is parakeet floor a thing?
I think she means parquet.
She means parquet, like the Celtics floor, right?
I know nothing, compared to a lot of people about interior design or wood floors, but I'm not familiar with parakeet floors.
It's got to be parquet, and she just fucked up on the.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe there's a parakeet floor. I don't. Is it like
I
a
don't know.
Jimmy Buffett Thompson thing? But Femke shout and welcome. I've seen it. She's seen it. She's seen the video.
Yeah,
We're gonna have to produce it now.
it's crazy. She's got, Wolverine healing powers in the vajay. All right, your favorite
By the
part.
way, a role many people don't realize Depp turned down. He was asked to be Wolverine. I swear to God.
Okay, I can see that.
I can see it too. He's very ageless and stuff.
I don't know if he'd do all these shirtless scenes though. The Wolverine.
That's maybe the problem. That's seriously
Yeah.
he can't deal with that.
He's on the dad bod side compared to.
I like that he's not
Mr. Hugh.
grandstandy about it. He's always been very almost Morrissey-esque with asexual with sex scenes and stuff. He just sort of. I mean, Don Juan DeMarco is kind of the opposite. It was done in a clever way, in a psychological way, but he's very anti that, and I kind of like that.
It's fine. It keeps me curious.
Yeah, keeps the broads curious. Exactly right.
All right, this is called Young Love. I put chapters in our videos today. This is Arm's favorite topic.
Yeah, this is what I've labored over the last few days.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, by the way, you should tell everybody you wanted to call this whole podcast "Jew Broads That Fights Rhinoplasty," and I had to. I did. We were close to doing it, but it's a great idea.
Oh God. Okay.
That was Artie's anti-Semitic Uncle Sonny. About,
I know.
The whole Buffy the Vampire thing.
Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah. Fights rhinoplasty. It was me. I'm not going to place it onto Sarah.
It's playing, I promise. There we go.
November 2013, did you have any contact with Lily Rose that led to any discussions with Mr. Depp?
What?
This isn't Jennifer Grey.
No, it's not. That's coming up.
Oh, I thought you made me think. Okay, never mind.
No.
I thought Young Love was them. Never mind. Go ahead.
No, that's called something else, which is a much better title than this.
Jew Broad That Fights Rhinoplasty.
No.
Objection leading.
What, if any, communications did you have with Lily Rose in November 2013?
Objection calls her hearsay leading.
I'm asking what her connection was. I didn't ask what she said.
I'm going to sustain the objection.
Okay. November 2013, what, if any, interaction did you have with Lily Rose without saying anything she said?
Objection hearsay.
It's interaction, Your Honor. I'm not asking for what she said.
What a fumperer Bonnie is. It's painful to listen to, Bonnie. And then Camille's just owning her.
Yeah, which I have to say, and this goes with
you don't have to say Bonnie sucks.
No. I'm not defending Bonnie. I'm saying every time you object strenuously, categorically, you're basically admitting that it's something you don't want out. I think it's. I believe. I feel it's an innuendo of something salacious you can't handle.
Of course.
I truly. Right. I think it almost is effective in its objection, and that's just my opinion.
Of course, and it's a valid opinion. But what it is, too, they're trying to throw her off by just being a nuisance to her. And when she gets wound up and on a roll, she thinks, they're just cutting her off. It's the only way they can do it. But also, she's using his kids to get a reaction out of him and to twist the knife. And that's also Camille's job to kind of protect her client a little bit. I know what you're saying about the topics she's about to discuss and throw out there.
Yeah, they know it's coming. They believe me. This can't be good on any level. This can't be.
But
there's no, and you can turn a juror with this, if not two.
The woman we saw in the deposition earlier would not give a shit about this.
You talking about? Oh yeah, well, I'm talking about these 7 millennials who can't deal with not being on their phone for 8 hours. That was Texaho.
If you can lay a foundation out.
Okay. Did there come a time in November 2013 that you saw Lily Rose?
Yes, they came to stay with us
for some time in the winter. Yeah, around November, I believe, 2013.
When you said they, who are you referring to?
Johnny's kids, Jack and Lily.
One thing about the eye contact with the jury, I was watching Legal Bites. That's another great wrap-up show for the trial.
Yeah, we brought that up before.
Yeah, but apparently someone was talking from inside the courtroom that when she tries to make eye contact and she's staring at the jury, some of them are avoiding eye contact. They'll like look somewhere else.
Yep.
Because she's making them uncomfortable.
Yep.
That tickles me.
Crazy ass. She's got they know crazy ass.
Insane.
Lily Rose.
All right. And was there a particular incident that led to a disagreement with Mr. Depp?
Objection leading.
Sustained.
What, if any, interaction did you have with Lily Rose that led to an argument with Mr. Depp?
Objection leading.
That, what, if any?
If we approach her.
I think I cut this. Yeah, I did.
Did you have an argument with Mr. Depp relating to Lily Rose in November 2013?
Yes.
Can you please describe that?
Well, I was, you know, these kids were, I found them to be these beautiful,
shiny,
wildly intelligent little weirdos in the best way. You know, they were.
Okay.
I was falling in love with them.
Oh,
and
America's falling in love with Stuttering John. I'm a celebrity. Get me out of here. I hope you realize that.
You know, they were in my life at that time, a short amount of time, but I loved it, and I started to feel very protective, and you know, Johnny's sobriety meant that he was there and then he wasn't. And the nature of our lives with the travel and work meant he was there and then he wasn't. And Lily Rose, at some point, had a crush on a you know.
Objection,
Wigger.
hearsay.
A wigger.
And lack of foundation.
I'll overrule for them.
Thank you. Please continue.
This argument happened because Johnny was. I didn't agree that this gentleman, it was a famous musician, over the age of 18, spent the night at the house, and I felt protective over Lily Rose and concerned. And naturally, they were not my children. It's not my place, and I understand that. I know it's a sensitive subject, so I understand why Johnny got so upset with me. But that and the introduction of the weed with his daughter, she was so young, I just felt protective. Again, it's not my place. I understand that. And I made him really angry by weighing in on that.
Okay. So if she says it's a famous musician, is it the same guy or a different guy?
I'll give you his name. I don't know if anybody knew. Apparently, he has some affiliation with McKine Hun Kelly, who is Howard's new boy toy. His name's Ash Stymist, who is just a classic. No, I mean in that world, you don't know that the Lily Rose TikTok world. Maybe he is, and he's just a classic wigger.
Maybe.
So this is the story that this guy was allowed to live on Depp's compound with Lily Rose, who's, I think at the maximum age difference, it was 24 and 15. It's statutory rape. Any way you slice it, it's statutory rape. We feel she called the cops, and I have a transcript to present to you that was done in the Tracey Jacobs, who's going to be the star witness for the succubus. And they go into it in detail here, and this is how it goes. If this gets out, you can lose one of those jurors without question. There's not a doubt. One of these people could be like, "You got to be kidding me." And the excuse he could be, "Oh well, you know, Vanessa's from France, and in France, you know, the age difference isn't that great." But this is, and I can't. This is indefensible. I won't even try. And Sarah, I believe you have the transcript from the Tracey Jacobs testimony.
Yes, it's in front of you on your screen. Do you want to be the attorney? I'll be her.
I can barely see it.
Okay.
Can you?
Yeah.
Is there any way to?
I'll read it. It's fine. Okay. To your knowledge, did Mr. Depp ever make any false statements to authorities who were investigating either his conduct or anything involving his family? Her answer, yes. And what is that? Relates to his daughter. His daughter, Lily Rose? Yes. And what was the investigation about? Tracey Jacobs says he was being investigated by the Department of Family Services and the LAPD. I don't know what the charges were specifically, but she was 15 and the boyfriend, I believe, was 23, and they were living next door to him in one of his condos downtown. Question, and was somebody making a claim that there might be a charge of statutory rape involved in the case? Do you know? Her answer, I don't know. Let's see. Mr. Chu objects. Her attorney says you can answer. She says yes. Mr. Crump, the attorney, says, and what is your knowledge based upon? She says that he met with both the LAPD and the Department of Family Services and no charges were filed. And I asked him afterwards. I said, it must have gone pretty well. And he said, yeah. I said, well, you couldn't have told them the truth. And he just smiled. And the question, and do you know whether or not Mr. Depp, in connection with those investigations, pressured any of his employees or people who worked for him to make false statements to the authorities? Her answer, I don't know.
Wow.
So,
and this is what they want to shut down mightily to get out there. You can't tell me that might not sway at least one or two jury members.
It could.
And
I
it's
mean,
and you say it's not nothing to do with the case. This is about abuse to her. And what does this have to do with her and the family? They don't give a shit. I think they forget the premise of this case every 5 minutes, and I do too. And all we do is go for superfluous stuff that's ancillary to it. That's all we do is branch out into the salacious part of it. That's statutory rape, any way you slice it.
Yeah,
You
it
can't
is absolutely.
defend it. You can't spin it. You can't do anything with it. And once Tracey Jacobs takes a stand, that's the real wait for it. I'm telling you, wait for it. If it's anything like this, what does it? Nothing, Gina. Nothing. It doesn't matter. The jury's going to hear this and go, "Oh, what a piece of shit! I'm voting against him."
That's exactly
It doesn't
why.
matter.
Yeah, that's the only reason. And
They're
twisting the
not going to
knife
remember. Yep.
and planting a seed. So we got some more video. You ready? Part 2?
And then they're going to throw in the Roman Polanski stuff.
I don't know.
And
that would have come up by now.
It's early. We still have 2 or 3 weeks left.
I don't know. I think it would have come up by now.
That's why Stunflower Dragon writes. And that's why you continually object when Amber veers off course, because you don't want something unrelated like this coming into the jury during a testimony. She wants to bring in anything to tarnish him. Even when Paul Bettany, the mirror, at one point Amber goes, and he's with Paul Bettany at this objection. Just as soon as Bettany's name comes, Camille shut it down.
Well, we'll see where it goes. I think a lot of this stuff that we already know, I think she would have thrown out there into the world already. We'll find out. I'm sure she's got quite the bomb to drop on her way out off the witness stand. I thought she would have done it Thursday, and she didn't really. Kind of landed with a dud.
It's early.
I know. There's still probably another day at least of her. I'd say direct, because she's still a year before the divorce. She's got to go through the divorce, all of that, the op-ed. I don't think Camille's going to get to her until the 17th, Tuesday.
Sarah, tell Ayla why Roman Polanski is a big deal.
What episode did we cover that?
Oh God, probably several.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of celebrities supported him. I don't know if she would use that. I think it's disgusting.
Well, they have comments of that. Yeah, it is. That is again, Woody Allen and Roman Polanski. If they can get you a juicy Oscar-worthy role, we don't care what you do. We have no morals.
I know, but they pretend they do.
No, and that's right. That's the game here.
How many years and decades did they turn their heads when they knew what was happening to children in Hollywood? They don't care. They were
Depp knew this when he took the ninth gate. Well, knew all of it easily.
Yeah.
He knew.
Yep. Okay, this next is what it's like outside the court. We've got a bunch of the Depp wives that we've talked about.
I also want to thank Rodney 21A, who is in our site as the Drew Show, and he has a friend of his, a female friend, who is going to the trial on a regular basis, and sent us a video from, I believe, is it TikTok or is it Instagram?
I don't know. I think
Okay.
TikTok.
Yeah,
I don't
she's
know
in there too.
TikTok.
Yeah, Rodney sent me a video. She filmed for us her at the trials outside. So I
Okay.
want to thank her and Rodney.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Let's see. That's what should start with too here.
Okay, as Melvin writing it right here. Okay, I'm gonna read this. So, Melvin writes, Polanski was arrested and charged with drugging and raping a 13-year-old girl as a result of a plea bargain. He pleaded guilty to the lesser offense and unlawful sex with a minor. In 1978, upon learning that the judge planned to reject his plea deal and impose a prison term instead of a probation, he fled to Paris. Yes, Melvin, thank you very much for laying that out succinctly and with detail yet.
Mm-hmm. So what this next
Hideous.
section is, the first video is the one you described. And then it's just like what's happening outside every day outside that court. There's no sound on this first
That's
video.
Rodney's friend. Yeah, she didn't have sound on it. Guess who?
It's crazy.
This is, I want to say it's like the afternoon before, like after everybody left, so they reassemble here and.
Mm-hmm. Imagine the mess they leave behind.
I know. They're probably told to clean up. They're strict orders to clean up, and they're probably respectful in that way.
Yeah.
They're all being recorded.
I would hope. But many of these people, the Depp wives from Twitter, who have drugged their husbands along, their real life husbands along. Husbands probably don't want to be there, but.
Do you think they sit through this in January? If it's 30 degrees colder?
Unfortunately, yes, I do.
I
think they're on a mission.
Believe me, I contemplated.
What? Sorry.
No, I said believe me, I contemplated this, but I thought I was removed from seeing. I think you are being ignorant to the stream of it. I can't deal with not watching the trial. I can't deal with hanging out there. I mean, obviously you could watch it. It's just not the same. I need to be focused in a big screen. I can't. I can't take it. I can't.
Yeah, I would rather watch it on television than.
Yeah, I know. It's just not. It's not an option.
Mm-hmm. And here we have Helena Bonham Carter outside the courtroom.
She does. I was thinking that too. She's a dead ringer.
Yeah.
Tim Burton staple.
I just keep thinking the men that are out there, they don't want to be there. Making their girls happy.
I think there's a 20% guy that guys, women love him and guys want to be him.
Mm-hmm.
He embody that?
Okay, I'll go with that. And this is Court TV doing a couple snippets on what they see.
Yeah,
outside.
I tried to capture. They have like a segment almost every day of outside the courtroom, and I tried to get what I thought you'd be interested in to throw together. It froze? Shit.
There we go.
2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Been doing this every day?
Every day this week. I was here a couple weeks ago for about a week.
So what encouraged you to come out? Sit out here and wait for a wristband?
I guess just to stick on the right side.
And also to show Johnny support, that we believe him, and that we're here for him.
Up overnight now to get into the courtroom.
Yeah, Benny, they've been doing it really this entire trial, and as the trial rolls on and more people are wanting to show up and get wristbands, the earlier the fans are arriving, some even at 10:30 the night before, as you can see them camping out. And one of our producers, Tiffany Smith, got out there in the wee morning hours to meet some of these super fans and ask, what brought them out here and what it was like to wait in this line for so many hours. Let's watch.
We started coming out here 3 and 4 in the morning. Then we had to make it 2. Then we had to make it 1.
Sorry, what?
That's Depp's next wife, without question. This is
I
where
know.
it's
She's
all
been.
leading. After this is she should. I mean, the woman. Even by the way, my fandom predates hers by 4 years, so she can brag all she wants. I still beat her, no matter
She's
what.
been interviewed. She's been interviewed on a few shows I've seen, and
Yes.
she claims to be his #1 fan, and he can do no wrong. and I thought I was bad, but I can. There's a couple things I can't
She's the
defend him on.
Marianne from Brooklyn of Depp in a way.
Yeah, she's there every day.
Hell is a great comparison. It's like sports, the NFL, Super Bowl. I would rather watch from home than go to any stadium now because it's just too you just have it too good at home with the big screen and the fantasy updates and stuff. Going to the stadium is actually it's the same thing with this trial. It's taking you out of focusing on the prize.
Yep.
Now it's getting so busy. 9 p.m. the day before to get a wristband.
So what do you think about the testimony that's come out so far?
On Johnny's side, it's fantastic. He's got an excellent case. He can win this. But
she's sitting next to
today,
Ozzy.
With all the
Ozzy and
that came
Meatloaf
out,
had a kid.
Lies, it's going to take him a little time to fight that. But he can win. He's got a great case. He's got a great team.
So if you were seated on the jury.
It's Beetlejuice.
Yeah. What would be your thoughts right now? Just listening to the evidence.
I would obviously swing for Depp, Johnny Depp. To me, it's just obvious. Like, she's characteristically, the therapy, that, her diagnosis and everything, it matches up to her behaviors. And she seems like the instigator.
So how do you think the trial is going so far?
I think, I don't know, because I'm biased, so it's hard for me to tell. But
Sorry, what?
I said at least she admits it.
Yeah,
I'm biased.
too.
About time someone said that.
See, I'm biased too, but I know things that aren't being submitted into court.
Yeah, you are really not as big a Depp fan as you are. You are just as much a fan of trials and celebrity salacious. You love all of it. You love Casey Anthony, you and Sunflower Dragon and Jodi Arias. You love all this stuff. You love a good trial. You do.
I do, if it's good. I mean, the day
And you're
Casey
great at
Anthony-
following it. You're great at sussing out that you're actually really good. I think when you broads immerse yourselves in these things, you become legal experts.
Well, maybe. I mean, I learned everything I know, and I know the basics from the OJ trial. I know you didn't pay attention, but that was a year of this every day for 8 hours a day. Insane. I can't believe I look back at this. You think about this 6-week trial, how people are saying this is crazy. That was a year.
I think this is way more important to mankind.
I agree.
at
This
large.
is a much bigger statement.
Way more issues at stake.
Mhm.
There's double murders every day. Probably in your own town of Salem, which is like the Mastic Shirley of Oregon. There's probably double murders every 5 minutes.
The
So I don't
armpit
look
of
at the-
Oregon, yeah. It is. Especially my section. Ugh.
These people, I'm not judging these people. I love that the passion they look. No one loves passion more than I, and no one appreciates it more than John Christopher Depp II himself. He thanks these people. He gives them all individual attention. They have him corned off, and you'll see this later, barricaded off. Believe me, he would throw himself into this crowd and thank each and every one of them, and take him to a steakhouse afterwards if they let him. They
Well,
literally won't let him.
You ready for the big news I'm about to break?
Okay.
We have the first interview. He agreed. I'm just kidding. I wish. Oh, I would die. Can you imagine? He comes on our little dinky channel as his first interview.
I deserve
I
it.
faint.
I deserve it.
You do, absolutely. I think you would do the best interview of him.
We
ever
never
been
get away.
done.
We never get off 21 Jump Street.
Yeah, I know. And he would hang up. You start listing the details of every single episode in order, and he just hangs up by, the end of the pilot.
The brick wall looks like the room at K-Rock that Ganji interviewed.
Oh God, yeah.
David's got some masterful story comparison for every fucking thing we do. It's crazy. And
So
he can
how'd
almost
it go?
So-
Ah,
Babe Lewis agrees with you, Sarah. The OJ trial was the best time
Yeah.
of his life.
My dad was injured at work, so he was home for 6 months of that. And some days he would come pick me up from high school at the end of the day. And
Wow.
he would just give me updates on the OJ trial. It was so
Wow,
surreal.
that's so cool. You watch it together?
No, I had to go to school, but he
right.
he would update me.
Did you VCR it at least?
No, he just watched it and he would tell me.
Oh, okay. What the fuck?
kind of think it's leaning towards
I got that black screen.
Johnny's
Hold on.
side, but then again, maybe
There it
that's because he put on his witnesses first, so I don't know.
I definitely support Johnny 110%. There's not a doubt in my mind.
Morning, and Vinny, they receive these wristbands. It gets them inside the courtroom or an overflow courtroom, and they are here to stay. You remember Yvonne? She talked to you when you were out here, Vinny. She's still here almost every day and says hello to you every time I see her in the courtroom.
It's amazing. Such a difference. I was there with you week one. Went around the corner to one of the cafes, and people are like, what? Johnny Depp's in town? Or there's a trial going on? Now the world knows, obviously, as we enter week 4 here.
SUV of Johnny Depp, and I thought someone might get hurt.
This is crazy.
Since that time, the courthouse deputies have really put in place extra security. So today, the biggest crowd so far lining up the street behind the courthouse to catch a glimpse of Johnny Depp. Extra squad cars there, extra motorcycle officers around, and 24 extra deputies, Vinny, to make sure they stay on the sidewalk.
Deputies.
No running
You
at
could
any
pun his
vehicle,
name in any situation.
and of course, guarding the gate in which the
Great
SUVs
Penske advertisement.
leave. So, of course, I was out there. Maybe you could even see me in that shot. Maybe not. But
no one cares.
Of course, there's Johnny Depp leaving. He's waving at the crowd. No one's chasing him. Much safer environment for everyone involved. There's the video. That's the video from my cell phone. And I mean, this crowd is yelling at the top of their lungs for Johnny Depp. And then, of course, for Amber Heard, there's some screams, very loud boos, Vinny, as she departed the courthouse this evening.
Show it.
Unbelievable.
Look at that.
I know, it's
Let's
insane.
talk about Johnny Depp and Amber
I'd be out there too,
Heard,
though.
reacting.
Everything's a Seinfeld episode comparison. I think we all saw the finale of Seinfeld when they took over that New England town. It's a lot like this, right? You're all converging onto this, and obviously, John O'Reilly pointed out this is the highest median income in the country at 146,000. So they're all converging on this town, which is like one of these just real, she upper crust, wink wink, lawyers and politician kind of town in North Virginia and lower DC, and they don't know what hit them. Imagine just like all these people, this element that they're not used to, just converging on this town with Airbnbs and just camping out. It's crazy, crazy. Much like the finale of Seinfeld, when they had a trial to convict them of almost of just like, you're bad people. I don't even know what the Charlie, criminal mischief or something collectively. And it was just like this. It was all these crazy characters converging on this weird New England town. That's what.
Yep. I would be out there, like I said, but I have to pay this pesky electric bill and feed the cat. I think she would like to eat once in a while.
It's a great time of year for this because it's that perfect time in the spring where you can kind of you're not too hot, you're not too cold, and you can kind of do this in long form.
Yeah. Okay, I don't remember this video. Okay, I'll play it here.
Now watch.
I'm feeling pretty good for him so far. I'd be really surprised at this point if he doesn't win it. Thank you.
Murderer!
I heard her
Laura
leave.
Green.
She left one evening, and somebody yelled at her, "Why you got to poop in the bed?" And defending men over women in domestic issues does not age well, especially with an admitted addict. After drugs, the next thing they do the most is lie. Which one are you talking about? Because she's an addict too.
NA thinks that Amber's going to win. NA thinks that, he thinks that one of the jurors is just going to be this raving feminazi, or just all too woke, and you cannot sway them. I think that's what NA's opinion is.
Mm-hmm. I mean, she very well could win. I don't know. I don't know anymore. If you believe the people that are reporting, the jury's reactions, which you can't, they said the same thing about OJ, how the women seemed to be moved by the domestic violence talk.
Yes.
They didn't care. They didn't give a shit. They just wanted to go home.
David thinks Depp's name is the tofu of names for puns and wordplay.
Yeah.
That's why he has a 180 IQ. Statements like that.
Melvin, I have never ridden the Riverfront Carousel. I know exactly what you're talking about. I avoid it in that park as much as I can. Iced tea count for the day is maybe 2, barely 2.
Oh, I get a riverfront carousel you can ride, honey. Jesus
Uh-huh.
Christ, what the fuck are you talking about?
A carousel, eh?
Remember Jackie goes? Jackie does I think you know the origin when Jackie goes, "Oh, you all suck."
Mm-hmm.
And they used to play when Fred used to play drops. That was one of my favorite drops. What is that from?
If I remember correctly, they were making fun of his music.
Okay, so he's just lost it in the middle. It's
Yeah, it was just the typical Jackie bash fest. Because
Gina,
he
you're right. The
wanted
finale was stupid. I agree, it was stupid, but it just reminded me of that. I know it's a lot of people hate the finale.
Mm-hmm. That guy in the glasses, the bald guy in the shot there, that's her PR guy. I just noticed him.
Good call. Good call. The Stanley Tucci of public relations.
Yep.
We started coming out here 3 and 4 in the morning.
Okay, that's kind of it's kind of the same thing, but
thing?
there were different stuff later, and she
Okay,
just
we'll just
they
play it.
couldn't.
Then we had to make it 2. Then we had to make it 1. Now it's getting so busy. 9 p.m. the day before to get a wristband.
You come up and just magically people in your spot and be like, hey.
Well, this one is bad too. You get it, but I'll have to speak up.
I will tell somebody. Yes. I'll try to send you. You gotta be that way. You gotta be like,
Well, you gotta be firm.
firm but polite.
It's very early to judge, so we just hope for the best at the end.
Do you believe she's coming across well?
I think she's coming across well, but she's also an actor, so it's just kind of hard to believe.
Well, so is he. A much better actor. I'd be on that fence.
I definitely support Johnny 110%. There's not a doubt in my mind.
Why did you come out?
God damn.
I really wanted to come out to support Johnny Depp, and the issue strikes really close to home for me.
That's what
so
David
I really
Zila
wanted to come out and
said.
support him.
New faces I see every day when the trial has progressed here,
she annoys
and
me more
really
than
the
she
fan
should.
surging
It's the same
for
stuff?
Johnny Depp, and we see
little
them
couple
sleeping
different
on
ones.
the sidewalk here
Just a
outside the
little bit,
courthouse.
like, details
Some
of-
arrive as early as
All right.
9 o'clock the day before to make sure they have a wristband, because only the first 100 are allowed inside the courtroom, the actual courtroom, and then there's another 50 for an overflow room, and many are turned away each day, and it's just really an unbelievable
DEPCON.
experience to get to know these people and to know that some of them, Vinny, use their entire vacation time
Bill
to
Duke,
be
good
here
one, Afi.
and to be at this trial every day as it
Young Bill
extends
Duke.
on. And outside the courthouse in the evening, when Johnny
Hello.
Depp departs, we have a lot
Hello,
more of a
ladies.
presence. In fact, yesterday was the largest crowd we had seen the entire trial. This video right now is from Monday, where the fans were swarming his SUV as he departed. It became a little bit dangerous because they were trying to hold on to it. So
I know.
now
I
they
agree,
have
Melvin.
the security. See the cop cars holding everyone on the sidewalk, this extra security along the sidewalk, making sure they do not leave, do not chase his
Wow.
vehicle. Different scene, extra security, a lot safer now, but really massive crowds now that this case rolls on.
Let's take everyone inside the courtroom now.
Just a little Tate. Yeah, she met you caught. God, that's so good, Sarah. Just a little Tate in the chat. A little Lucy Fire writes, "Na, this is so clearly lies by Amber's. Johnny's imbibing has nothing to do with the boy. Like he's always goes back to the drinking. Lucy Fire loves some Thompson, the borderline histrionic witch. Certainly Lucy Fire. No one's debating that." And then Na writes like, "Oh, I think she's gonna win. They both are in a toxic relationship, and they both should be blamed for it." Both have very valid points. NA, you're going to have pushback because everyone's 90% in Depp's corner. But what you say is not ridiculous, because there could be one of those 7 that looks, oh, you ridiculous celebrities deserve each other. And let's not lose sight of the fact this is a man who was in knee deep in a home wrecking pussy fog, a midlife crisis pussy fog. And he casting couch in Rum Diaries. He is a willing participant. And some might say, Bob Costa says it all the time. So he doesn't state the opinion. He goes, some might say he brought this upon himself. What do you say to those who say he, Johnny Depp, brought this upon himself? So he doesn't have to take ownership of the statement.
I think what I think is going to happen. I think they both have fault in this. Obviously, they're both addicts at one time. Yeah, of course, all that's true. But I think what's going to happen, I suspect, I think he could easily win this, but not be awarded any damages.
That's the other thing, and you brilliantly found out that the jury gets to decide the money, so they could say, oh, yeah, he's right, but zero.
They could give him $1.
Or they could give him $350 million.
Oh, that'd be great. I want to see her. No, I want to see her meltdown when they read the verdict.
I don't think he cares. Just the fact that she owes him for the rest of his life, and
Yeah.
it was Gina Bobina who had the most brilliant. She's kind of defending what I said, and I'm not, and that's just because she was backing up. I say, well, it's not. I said that they should force her to produce a paper trail, that she has to pay for it out of her own money. Otherwise, what lesson is learned? There's no, if Elon Musk is benefacting it, or the ACLU, or Gloria Allred, whoever, what lesson does she learn if she's not paying the money, right? I mean, this is like, and they're like, well, and then Sunflower Dragon and John O'Reilly said, well, technically it doesn't matter where it comes from. There's no rule that, and then Gina Bobina is like, well, that's really stupid, because it'd be like having community service, like 500 hours of community service. Oh, my friend's going to do it for me. And what lesson did that person learn? Because they just get their lemming friend to do it for them all the time. That's the same thing. You would never allow that in community. My brother's going to do it. My friend's going to do it for me. I can't.
And the UK trial definitely put a kink in his case here, but it's a much different trial or case that he brought against her. She wasn't the one that he sued. I'm not saying he's going to win. I can see it happening. I'm not guaranteeing anything. He could easily lose. Like what Arm said, it takes one juror.
One. Only one.
The issue in the UK is he was suing the Sun, and they had a source, which was Amber Heard. That's how they won.
Juror, Sarah. You could have a juror that's anti-establishment, a non-conformist, someone who just wants to be different, someone who just goes against. I'm different. I'm going to go against what they're, just for attention. I'm going to be the guy who sinks Depp's trial. It's as simple as that. There are people who are just non-conformist. They are anti-establishment at every step of the way, just for the sake of being anti-establishment. And I could see someone just going, yeah, I'm going to be the guy who sinks them.
Yeah. I mean, and he loses, I go to work the next day. My life goes on. I'm not going to cry. I'll be sad because she won. I don't like her. But I go about my life.
But
and we're going to keep doing the show.
Is Depp's real motivation just to lay her bare and to have her completely sullied from working again? Did he win when he's not winning? You win. The real war is banishing her from show business.
The Sunflower Dragon, what was the basis of the UK trial? Was it also defamation? Yes, against the Sun. But they proved they had their source, which was the wife claiming all of the abuse. That's all they had to prove.
Sunflower, I need you to listen to our reenactment of the trial. And I'm not jerking myself off. I just think people need to. I think we do a really nice job of truncating that thing word for word, and denied the entertainment we didn't get just by reading the transcripts. And you do such a great job as Sasha Wass, who they probably consult with every day.
And hours upon hours of those episodes. Oh my God.
And that was tough. Thank you very much. You're Maury boy. He says, Arm, you're so right. Someone's going to screw this up just to be a dick. Yes. 1 out of 7 people are dicks. Rest assured.
Yeah. Lucy Fire, OJ was a bigger trial.
No,
only because that.
No, it's not. I think Depp's way bigger than he does.
We're not talking about us. We're talking about normal people. For normal people, OJ was much bigger because it
Why?
changed pop
Why?
culture.
What is
It
he? What is he to pop? He's a
it
running back for the
ruined
Buffalo
daytime
Bills.
television. They never recovered from that. Daytime talk shows eventually ended.
The NBA
Probably in big,
Finals.
yeah. The Bronco chase during the Houston, the Rockets final, and was the Knicks, right?
Rockets Knicks. It's one of the
Yeah.
lowest rated finals of all time.
Yeah. I mean, my grandfather is laying in a hospital bed after heart surgery, and we're just watching OJ, the OJ Bronco chase. You know, one of the last things he ever saw was the OJ Bronco chase. We're not really proud of that, but
And I'm watching Otis Thorpe get a one-handed rebound at the ground round in 1994 instead, which is what I was doing.
yeah. Well, Scott Balow, he says the only negative thing about your reenactment is a lack of visual component. It's easy to space out while you're talking. And we didn't have one. I wish there was video of that. That would have been great if that would have been aired, even in the UK.
Yeah. It's just something to have on in the background when you're doing something. I think it's a really good.
Yeah, go to sleep to it. I have
go to
a
sleep
way
to
of
it, right?
lulling people to sleep with my monotone.
You don't. You're really hard hitting during that.
Yes,
I really felt
Maury agrees with me. OJ was bigger.
I don't know how you quantify it. Who's going to be Peter Jennings claiming he saw Johnny Depp?
Yeah.
George Stephanopoulos.
I'm trying to remember his line there. Okay, so next part. This is my iced tea break. I'm going to go grab some while this plays because I did my part. I called this chapter Love's Leading Rebounder in honor of Arm. This is Jennifer Grey. There's a few clips here leading up to the reading of the chapter on Johnny Depp from Jennifer Grey's new book. And who sent us this book, by the way? Do we think? Who do we think?
Johnny Bye Bye in the WINO.
Okay.
And who is Johnny Bye Bye in the chat? It's obviously a different name. I have to assume he's in here.
Some people don't want.
Now. I know they don't want the same name or the attention for it. But that was our conduit. I cannot thank you enough for that because it was so timely and it went right. The chapter is called. I think it's chapter 18. It's called Mrs. Brodra Depp. Jennifer Grey entitles so it's a transition from, and I really recommend reading this book because she details him murdering two people in Ireland, the trial before it. Jennifer Grey is Matthew Broderick. Jennifer Grey is in the passenger seat, and she goes through the horror of that whole scenario, which is never talked about. And I have to say, this relationship, Jennifer Grey and Johnny Depp had a tryst in the late 80s, which I was aware of, but it was glossed over and it was very, very clandestine. You could not find shit about it in the age of when no cell phones and less media and no internet. And I would just see it couldn't have gone maybe not even a year. And as we find out, well, I mean, maybe I'll let Sarah read it first, but the connections are crazy. And I didn't know this until this book came out. It has to do with Depp's agent, Tracey Jacobs.
All right, let's get this started. We got, like I said, reading.
So Sarah generously adhered to my request to voice this over. I highlighted all the Depp passages in the book, and I was going to read it originally, but I felt that it was essential we have a broad read it to mirror Jennifer Grey's tones. So, Sarah,
you probably should have.
No.
We'll see.
I heard you did a great job. The little I heard of it.
We'll see. All right, here we go.
Hopefully, there's a weird thing, you know. People work their whole lives and they say, "Oh, I'm going to do everything I can to be famous," and then once you get famous, you do everything you can so you can stay out of the public eye. So there's a line in there somewhere that I think everybody's sort of missed. I think I missed it.
And Jennifer, she says she broke off their engagement just before her 29th birthday, after he left for a meeting and didn't come back or contact her for several hours. E.T. has reached out to Johnny's reps for comment. Back in 1988, E.T. was with the actor on the set of the cop drama where he opened up about the pressures of being famous.
I do miss privacy. It's a little strange. It's a little strange to go out to a restaurant or something.
How different his accent is.
And have people sort of, gawking at you like you're some sort of, I don't know, like an animal on display or...
My dumb emoji just means I would lick him like an ice cream cone.
Some sort of freak. It's a little
Sarah,
strange.
I just want to say, N.A. is Johnny Bye Bye.
N.A.
N.A.
Thank you.
Yep.
I mean, thank you, NA.
Yes.
To get used to. I don't know if things continue to happen for me, and hopefully they will. Hopefully I'll get used to it, you know.
Of course, now Johnny is very much in the public eye as his defamation suit against his ex-wife Amber Heard continues to make headlines.
Had your relationship with Johnny, was there anything like what we're seeing in the headlines today?
From my experience with him, I never had anything violent whatsoever. Nothing. Well, I haven't seen him for 30 years, but I will say he was a rebound relationship for me. And if you're looking for a rebound relationship, the 1989 Johnny Depp was... That is the way to go. It just wiped out all of my pain, just like...
He effed the Ferris Bueller out of you.
Like an Etch-a-Sketch. Oh, Matthew who? I'm blushing now.
Do you know what that does to me, to hear the word rebound and Depp and 1989 in the same sentence?
Collision of two worlds.
I can't process that.
Mm-hmm.
After just bringing up Otis Thorpe and his one-handed... You know what that does to me? In that same sentence, I can't focus. I can't process that sentence. Like, I can't.
Okay. I get it. I mean, it's very surreal. I get it. When worlds collide, sometimes you can't handle it.
And you're going to find out how they hooked up, which is the craziest shit ever, as Amber Heard would go, ever. You do not touch my baby sister. And I would never.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I swung at him that one time. Yeah, okay, honey.
Gina Bobina goes, rip old nose.
Yeah, I know. That wrecked her
The
career, they
nose
say.
stuff comes up during this. It's a huge, that's what we said, Jew broad fights rhinoplasty. Because it's her mom, one of those like showbiz moms that's just terror.
Yeah.
And I gotta give the broad some, because this book sounds really good. But I gotta say this too, she strangely won't commit to anything. She's on the fence. Like fucking Huck Finn, Dirty Dancing star Jennifer Grey shared her thoughts. Yeah, because she's probably like, I bet you she's
They're waiting for the outcome.
Yeah.
They're not going to comment until the outcome happens. Okay.
Also, let me just read the quote. She writes here in this quote, which is, it's not in the interview shirts. All I can say about this trial, it just breaks my heart for everybody involved, said Graham. I just think it's sad, and I just wish it was resolved, and I just wish well for everybody. That's just such a... She can't go to his... It's crazy. And she may still harbor... I don't know. But
I don't know. This was such a brief relationship. And she says it was a rebound. Maybe she's over it.
But fire for the time it was going.
Mm-hmm. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. I apologize. Pretend I'm Jennifer Grey.
I finally decided to leave my agent, Susan Smith. Matthew's agent, Todd Smith, no relation to Susan, at CAA, wanted to sign me, but Matthew did not like the idea of us having the same agent. My dad's longtime and recently former agent, Sam Cohn at ICM, was also trying to sign me, so I went with Sam. My dad was extremely hurt and upset by my decision. He couldn't understand how, in good conscience, I could sign with someone who'd stopped answering his calls. Sam, the celebrated Uber agent to the biggies, Streep, Fosse, Nichols, Redgrave, everyone, was legendary for failing to return his clients' calls, yet somehow my dad thought he should have been the exception. After love-bombing me until I signed with him, Sam swiftly passed me on to the day-to-day care of an up-and-coming agent at the ICM LA office named Tracey Jacobs, who began sending me stacks and stacks of scripts. I tear through them in my Bethune Street apartment, looking for the just right follow-up role, the perfect vehicle, relieved to finally have the support of someone so smart, passionate, and fired up about my career's potential. I was teed up, or so I thought, to finally make some serious coin, and more important, to have the opportunity to be able to work with directors who made the kind of first-rate films I had fantasized about doing all my life. I began taking meetings with directors, screen testing for parts. I tested for Cocktail with Tom Cruise, but got a bad case of the giggles during the love scene, so I screwed myself out of that one. I was super excited when my dream director, Mike Nichols, wanted me to come over to his place and informally read for the lead in Working Girl. But the night before, Matthew and I got into a fight. He wasn't keen on me working with his director, and the next morning I arrived at Mike's exhausted and plainly unprepared, hoping it wouldn't matter. I closed Matthew's desk drawer, went home, took a Valium, and tried to sleep. At noon, Matthew called, told me he'd be out to breakfast with his sister Janet. I said, "Oh, really? That must have been a pretty early breakfast because I was at your apartment at 7:30 this morning and you weren't there." He said, "Let me come over and tell you what happened." I said, "Tell me on the phone. I don't want to see you." He said, "I want to explain in person." I said, "Let me guess, Helen Hunt?" He said, "Yes, but it's not what you think." I said, "Oh, okay, sure. Let's hear it."
Paul Reiser.
We went on like that back and forth. He said, "I swear to you on my father's grave that we didn't even kiss." I said, "You're a liar. You blew it. I never want to see you again." And that was it for me. The next order of business was to call Helen. She picked up. "Hi, Helen?" "Yes." "It's Jennifer Grey. He's all yours." Click. Within minutes, Matthew showed up at my front stoop, just below my bedroom, and rang the buzzer incessantly, but I didn't respond. He called up to my window from the street. He went to the corner payphone to call me. While he was down the street calling, I hurried out and into a cab. Within an hour, I was checking in at the airport. I'd reserved a seat on a flight to LA on MGM Grand Air, the airline of choice at the time, with first-class cabins that looked like Liberace's living room. I was going home to Mother, in style. The other passenger in my cabin was Peter Allen, Liza Minnelli's sexy Aussie ex-husband, the first gay man who'd lit me up. The most perfect person in the world to be my crushed velvet seatmate. The interior of the aircraft looked like the Orient Express were a Vegas brothel. A lot of burgundy and gilt. I suck. I'm so sorry. I'm critiquing myself on mute over here. Satin curtains you could draw for privacy, which of course we did. By the time I fastened my seatbelt and was slugging back in my mimosas, I had monkeys flying out of my hair. In this Ken Russell movie, my character was a tear-stained, smoking, drinking mess, delivering my tale of woe faster than Gilbert and Sullivan Pattersong. Maury agrees. If I had ever any doubt there was a God, finding Peter Allen plopped there to unconditionally love me up with every... Oh my God, that's horrible.
Pause it whenever you want. I just want to stop for a minute. So now, Matthew Broderick's a piece of shit, huh? I mean, there's always some fucking weird chicanery going on with him. He's killing 2 people in Ireland, cheating with it, and they're in, I guess, Bethune Street, which I believe is a street, if my New York memory serves me right, in the West Village, I think. And this is like a classic New York actor fucking moment. And I should say too, Jennifer Grey, just before I forget, Depp is all over the place. So he's either robbing the cradle or he will date older. So we have Ellen Barkin, who is his cougar on Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and he's been off and on with. We have Lori Allison, his first wife, who he's 5 years younger than, and Jennifer Grey, who I believe is 3 years older than him. So he's all over the place, broad-wise. You know, it's kind of, he's just looking for some kind. So you can't say he's a perpetual cradle robber in this sense.
Yeah. No, I mean, God, and what a night and day comparison. You go from Matthew Broderick to Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp is your rebound?
Well, he F's the Ferris out of her, as she goes on to say in very ambiguous ways, and it's a very, when you read it, there's so much here that answers questions I had at that time. I became a fan of his probably like, summer of '87, and that relationship was, you'd see snippets and I could never track it, when it started, when it ended. And this picture you see here in Sarah's collage, Depp is wearing a hat. A. Smith, you probably just watched this episode, Low and Away. That's the Tiger's hat from the baseball episode Depp stole from the set of 21 Jump Street.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully these
Low and Away.
pictures, I don't think these pictures are very clear. They never are when I use them on StreamYard. So.
And so Sarah dropped the name Tracey Jacobs, and that was Depp's agent of 30 plus years, which they broke up in about 2015. She's the star witness for the succubus coming up. We've gone into her other deposition from 2019, and this is how it works. I mean, it's almost like prostitution, where she's pimping out her clients to it. And this is how these people hook up. And sometimes you go, how do they meet? And why don't get it? And Hollywood is so predicated on almost like Howard and Robin Givens and Angie Everhart through Buffalo. Same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Can't say anything else other than I agree. You nailed it.
Mia Sara, good one, David. David's a young guy. How do you know Mia Sara? David's like in his early 30s, and Mia Sara was the lead in Ferris Bueller. I don't know how he fucking knows. God, I haven't heard that name in years.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I've always wondered what happened to her. I don't know.
I thought she'd be a huge star. Everybody had a crush on her.
Yeah, she disappeared rather quickly.
It's tough. The actress game's tough. There's very few females that are lionized into the A-list. It's very, very tough racket.
Mm-hmm.
When you age out, especially with ageism so rampant.
Yeah. All right, let's get through this here a little bit more. Not much, hopefully. Twist and turn of my woeful opera was all the proof I needed. I landed in LA emptied. I settled into my mom's condo, sleeping on the daybed in her home office. I checked my New York answering machine. There were multiple messages from some florist trying to make a delivery to my apartment. Meanwhile, Madonna sent flowers to me at my mom's with a card that read, "Happiness is the best revenge." It's 1 week after fleeing the scene of the crime, and I'm recovering at my mother's place. She's left town for the weekend. I hear the buzzer, press the intercom, and announce that I'll be right down. I take the elevator, head down the pebbled concrete steps, and as I swing open the security gate, there under the streetlight, standing in front of a nondescript old sedan, is the most beautiful man-boy I've ever seen. His cheekbones, nose, lips, eyebrows, dark eyes, every minute detail set off an electrical storm in my brain. Then there's the smile. There is a lot of story incoming on a rush of dopamine. What exactly am I looking at? A swish of brown hair over one eye. Some kind of art on those arms? Oh, I get it. It's a tattoo of a Cherokee chief in full feathered headdress. And on the other arm, a red heart with a banner. Who's Betty Sue? He's wearing old motorcycle boots, worn Levi's, a t-shirt, and tied around his waist a flannel shirt that looks so soft it could be a transitional object for a baby. The perfect fade, the perfect plaid. The shirt you hope to God he forgets at your house. This guy's adorned, mismatched tiny hoop earrings, a few silver chains around his neck, and a leather wrist cuff. Every inch of him says, I just woke up like this. He's like an apparition, an angel. If a mirage could have been a person in the summer of 1988, that mirage would have been Johnny Depp. My agent, Tracey, had set me up on a blind date with this guy. He told her he had a massive crush on me after seeing Dirty Dancing, and she was desperate to sign him. Having just had my most serious relationship to date go up like a flaming ball of shit, I was in no shape to go out with anyone. Sitting over lunch at the Ivy while I picked my grilled vegetable salad, she implored me to just go out with him once and assured me that I wouldn't be sorry. I didn't know who this kid was, never heard of him. She told me he was on this TV series 21 Jump Street and had a rabid preteen following. Nothing about that description even somewhat intrigued me. Tracey couldn't ask for the check fast enough and drove us straight to a thrifty drugstore, dragging me over to the rack where the mecca of Tiger Beat-type fanzines were on display. There on every one of these magazines covers, designed to drive a 13-year-old wild with the desire, was a little cutout face bobbing in a sea of other teen heartthrobs. Of this actor she was pimping. I had no interest in dating a teen idol. Tracey said, I'm telling you, this kid is one of the kindest, sweetest human beings I've ever met. She just wouldn't shut up about how great he was. She was like a pit bull. She locked on. So I said, okay. He asked if I liked soul food, and I said yes. A bumper sticker on the back of the beater he was driving read, Happiness is being a grandparent. It's my stepfather, Bumpa's car, he explained. We headed over to Maurice's Snack and Chat on Pico east of Fairfax. As soon as we got into the car, he grabbed his box of Marlboro Reds off the dash and said, you want one? Yeah, I did. Reds were my brand. Maurice's didn't serve alcohol, so first we popped into the corner liquor store for a flask-sized bottle of Jack. Johnny was a regular at the restaurant, and Maurice, a.k.a. Mama, lit up when she saw us like we were her kids home for the holidays. We ate on the makeshift patio out back, drinking our Jack out of plastic cups.
He ordered everything: meatloaf, candied yams, black-eyed peas, and Mama's signature Southern fried chicken. We took our time
Sounds-
over the incredible home-cooked meal. We ate, talked.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Pause it whenever you feel like it. Don't feel like you have to
I want to
plow
get through
the
this as
whole thing.
quickly.
Oh, come on.
I'm
So
convulsing over here.
I'm fascinated. So his stepdad, I think I'm trying to put this together. His mother must have come back and forth to LA. So he's driving. I'm thinking they drove to LA and he's driving his stepdad's car because he's coming back and forth from Jump Street. So he's living in Vancouver and he's commuting to LA in the hiatus summer months. And this is when they meet and he's driving his stepdad's car. So I wonder too, maybe they drove from, because I remember his mom living with him in Vancouver. So maybe could they have driven from Vancouver to LA at the time? Just like it did like a road trip on the Pacific Coast kind of thing?
Maybe.
Oh, that's so. And then so he jumps right. He wastes. That feels like, I think he feels like he has no time. He must capitalize on this, and he works quick because it's like he isn't sure he's gonna get off that show, and she's looking at his some TV neophyte. She's coming off Dirty Dancing and stuff, and she hadn't done it yet. I'm trying to remember what the timeline. Dirty Dancing came out in 87.
Yeah, she did Dirty Dancing.
Okay,
She was done.
yeah. So you would think she's on a rocket ship to, female A-list, but she's not, as we come to find
Yeah.
out.
The tire blew on the freeway and nothing happened. So right after Dirty Dancing, I think she had one semi-popular movie after that.
Yeah, Scott
And
Baylor.
then she was pretty
Sarah,
much done.
don't be so hard on yourself. You're reading it exactly as these broads narrate their own book do. This is exactly how they all sound when they do books to audio. It's very kind of restrained, and they kind of they're not trying to be like super duper grandstandy and dynamic. This is exactly how they sound when they read their own books.
Yeah. No, I know. And I hate when people use the I was tired excuse. This was after my car broke down. So, yeah, whatever.
But 87
Anyway,
there.
I was done with life at that point when I was reading this. So, yeah, Dirty Dancing was 87. That was
87. This is right. She's in the absolute height of her, baby in a corner bullshit.
Yeah. I had a Dirty Dancing themed slumber party in 1988 for my birthday. And don't ask.
Well, I will ask. Crybaby has a very similar theme to Dirty Dancing, if you think about it. Which Depp's first starring movie in 89. I'm sorry, 90. He came out. He filmed it in 89. And it's got a similar vibe to Dirty Dancing in the sense that he's on the wrong side of the track, she's on the right side of the track, Amy Locane. It's kind of, right? Isn't it kind of a similar tone?
From what I know about Crybaby, which I still refuse to watch.
Oh, you still haven't seen
I'm pretty sure. I haven't seen Crybaby.
You're in the height of Jump Street. You didn't watch Crybaby when it came out?
I don't like John Waters. I
Okay.
can't.
No, I get that. I get that. Totally.
I find no appeal in John Waters whatsoever. I don't think it's quirky. I don't think it's funny. I think it's
that movie didn't
gross.
do nearly what they claimed. Like in terms of, I just mean like, we're not gonna do a John Waters movie to change my image because I just want to go against. No, people just saw it as your fangirls were not cerebral auteur film. They just saw you in Elvis garb, and they didn't care they didn't see it as parody. They didn't see anything you were going for satirically.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put a foot up your ass before you even get close to me.
When you watch that cameo of John Waters on 21 Jump Street, he's so creepy.
Yeah, Mr. Bean.
That's why he was.
Bobina.
Yeah, that's why he
Mr.
was
Bobina.
thrilled to do a movie with Johnny Depp. Just the way he reacted to him on the bus.
Bobina loves the Crybaby soundtrack, which is fair. I get it. I get it.
Might be good. I don't know.
Crybaby.
Affy asked how many times I've seen Roadhouse. Probably 200 times.
You love Roadhouse.
I love Roadhouse. My local man, Sam. Yeah, local guy, lives in Albany. Co-starred in Roadhouse. Love him. All right, here we go. And she does mention Crybaby briefly.
Yes, she does.
Drank, laughed our asses off, took cigarette breaks mid-course. I found out who Betty Sue was, his mom. He liked the booze I liked. He liked the cigarettes I liked. He liked the food I liked. And he looked like every girl's wet dream. He packed his cigarettes, rhythmically pounding the pack of the heel of one of the hand until the cigs were half an inch shorter. This boy was so ridiculously beautiful and surprisingly open, funny, quirky, and sweet. Note to self, send flowers to Tracey. After Maurice's, we headed over to Tower Records on Sunset and
Been
bought a
there.
bunch of music we'd been talking about. We sat in the parked car with the lights from the store spilling in, taking turns playing our favorite songs for each other. We started making out to Bobby Darin's Beyond the Sea,
He
Rita
loves that
Payne's
song.
Band of Gold, Al Green's.
He loves that Bobby Darin Beyond the Sea is using.
I know.
And by the way, it's used, and this is where I say that Depp had it so good on Jump Street. He uses it in the Oompa Oompa episode, season 4, 21 Jump Street, to end. If you have the real deal episodes, Bobby Darin's song ends the episode while they're on the beach. He's making out with that broad who he cock blocked from Lance, that director. Jesus, Sean Levy, who defended him, by the way.
Yeah.
We read that story a few months ago, that director Sean Levy, who's a pretty big director, pretty big deal in Hollywood. He defended how great a guy Depp was on the filming of that.
Mm-hmm. Gina mentions the Dirty Dancing soundtrack.
Sam
I
Elliott.
had the original release and I had the deluxe version. I think I had 3 different versions. I love that soundtrack. It's so great.
Cry baby, crying all the time. Na 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 na.
That doesn't turn me on to the Crybaby
It's
soundtrack.
just I'm a king cry baby with a tear in my eye.
Oh my god. No. I no, you're not
That's
convincing me.
the soundtrack.
Nope.
I wasn't convinced watching it. You
Good.
know, Willem Dafoe is in that. He plays a bailiff. Iggy Pop is in it. Depp somehow got Iggy Pop crowbarred into it. It's a strange. Ricky Lake, obviously Amy Locane. It's just Tracy, and then Tracy Lords is in the movie, and that's a rumored tryst Depp had, which I can't quite track either. I'm assuming it happened on that set, and she was a rebound from Jennifer Grey.
Mm-hmm. I have heard that too. Yeah, that was immediately after, right?
Sam Elliott. Yes, immediately after they broke up.
Okay. All right. Let's get this going here.
Let's stay together, and the Isley brothers, for the love of you. He drove me back to my mom's and parked out front. The darkness of the residential street lent itself to an even more intense makeout session. I invited him up, and he slept over with me on the daybed in my mom's office. Within 2 weeks, Johnny had asked me to marry him, and within the month, he had signed with Tracey. We went to Tiffany in Beverly Hills and picked out a small emerald-cut diamond with 2 emerald baguettes on either side of it. On August 12th, I wrote in my journal, I'm in love, pretty sure for the first time in my life. He's kind, funny, smart, moral, thoughtful, respectful. After flying the coop, I didn't return to New York for months. Johnny and I rented Carrie Fisher's log cabin in Laurel Canyon. I was saved. We played house, fixing up our one-room rustic love nest with French country pieces we found at the antique store downstairs from ICM on Beverly Boulevard. We hung those old floral rayon curtains from the 40s we'd scored at the Rose Bowl flea market. We were into Native American anything and bought these vintage blankets from a store on La Brea. Somehow it all went together. All we did was talk about how much we both wanted to start a family and how lucky we were to have found each other. On the way to some flea market in the Sherman Oaks Galleria, we passed a pet store, and behind the glass, filled with shredded paper, we saw the most ridiculously adorable tiny puppy. She didn't even look real. They said she was a peekaboo, a Pekingese poodle mix. We named her Lulu. She was our practice baby and someone to keep me company.
What? Sorry.
Pikachu, if it's Jennifer Grey.
I should have said that.
No, that's right. Can I just, while you pause, I just want to give Gina Bobina some props. She brought up Madonna before, and I have no idea why. It's insane coincidence, maybe. Or maybe
Yeah,
she
it's a
knows
quick-
she knows a tons of stuff. That Bobina, you never know what's in that brain. Madonna is the star client of her ex-agent, and they had a relationship. Jennifer Grey and Madonna started a play together. And why I say this is, so after this shit went down, Madonna has this famous quote that went around. I remember reading this in Us magazine. Like, I just remember just reading it. This is all you had back then. And the quote went, "Hunk if you haven't been engaged to Johnny Depp." Because there was a string of like Sherilyn Fenn and her and Winona Ryder and stuff. So there's an actual bumper sticker made off a Madonna quote, and Madonna, I guess, was Depp knighting for Jennifer Grey, who they were friends with, and I guess was just shooting off, and she took weird shots, and I just remember thinking, what the fuck does Madonna have to do with Depp? They don't know each other, and yes, they do. You just got to connect the agents. We did not know how that worked back then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all just a move up the ladder the best way you can for
Yep.
Tracey Jacobs. So I get why Jennifer. Well, we'll find out here.
When Johnny was out of town. In the fall, when his 21 Jump Street hiatus was over, he'd be shooting in Vancouver. And since we couldn't bear the idea of being apart, we decided that I would go live up there with him. We briefly tried that out, but the loneliness, the interminable days sitting around in his empty rental apartment, waiting for him to come home in a city where I knew no one, wasn't working for me. We decided it would be better if he'd just come back to LA whenever he wasn't shooting. At Christmas time, we went on the Meet My Fiancé tour. Johnny took me and our furry love child to Florida to meet Betty Sue, his sisters and brother. On Christmas morning, Johnny gave me a diamond eternity band from Tiffany. Our next stop was Boston, where I introduced him to my father, who was doing a show there. Johnny bought all three of us matching Tag Heuer watches.
Sarah.
Next stop, New York City, where we threw a...
Explain to everybody who her father is.
Joel Grey.
He was like a super producer at the time. You talking about like Hollywood nepotism?
He's a Broadway actor.
And wasn't he a producer too?
I don't know if he's a producer. Maybe David will know, but
David's definitely gonna. David writes Princess Leia to the that Carrie Fisher log cabin's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Can I tell my favorite Carrie Fisher log cabin story real briefly?
No, but you will.
As what is want to do, we all have access to Carrie Fisher's third homes, right?
Of course. No, Joel Grey was in Cabaret, I believe. That's what he was best known for, I think. Joel Grey was gay. Yeah. Dorian's.
So he's a gay father. What the fuck?
It happens.
Yeah, Howard.
The penis still works. Penis and balls still work, just the same. See, Joel Grey. Cabaret. I just looked it up.
He came out in his 70s, Dorian. Wow.
Yeah. I
didn't know
now
that.
remember
I didn't
that.
know that. I remember.
I couldn't remember up until this point whether he was gay or not. I never thought to look up whether Joel Grey ever came out before this. So thank you.
Small New Year's gathering in my apartment, and Johnny and I, as host and hostess, instigated a dorky dance contest to see who could, at one time, outdork the other, setting up the most embarrassing dance moves we could come up with. When it was your turn to show off your killer moves and grooves, you did so with dead seriousness. The competition was fierce. All my pals who met Johnny gushed, "Oh my God, he's the sweetest. You so deserve this. Are you kidding me? He's so beautiful." We started twinning, or at least I did. He'd given me his perfectly broken-in motorcycle jacket. He bought me a pair of black leather engineer boots, and I wore his faded plaid leather flannel shirts. I went with him to some stadium event for 21 Jump Street fans.
Chicago.
He hated it. And his growing heartthrob status accelerated, he felt exploited and trapped in his teen idol machine, dogged by paparazzi and crazed fans. He was desperate to get out of his TV contract so he could be free to work in movies. I could see all that he could be much better and more comfortably than I was ever able to do for myself. I had no doubt about Johnny's potential, his talent, and the kind of career he should be having. The way I believed in him, I've never had that unwavering kind of vision for myself. Instead, I focused my energy on him, advising him, encouraging him to see the limitless opportunities and to swing for the fences. Meanwhile, there was still a significant amount of activity and noise around my career. There was pressure on Tracey to come up with a gig for me as a new client, and I felt a lot of pressure to make the right choice. I was reading scripts, taking meetings, and developmental deals were being set up. But the more time passed after Dirty Dancing, the more pressured I felt to make my next role the perfect next thing. No strong contenders were being offered, but the vibe was that any day this career of mine was going to hit its stride. I remember Jeff Berg, the chairman of ICM, saying, "We've just got to get you out of the Catskills." Johnny was commuting every week back and forth from Vancouver, but had begun to more and more regularly be getting into trouble. Fights in bars, skirmishes with cops. He'd start missing his flights home to LA, having overslept, or when he did come home, he'd be crazy jealous and paranoid about what I'd been up to while he was gone.
All right,
I
pause it there.
attributed his ill temper and unhappiness.
Thank you. So you hear there now, she throws in, and I bet you the succubus uses this, fights in bars, ill-tempered, and there was a gaggle of stories back then. Again, the media is not what it is now on the internet of him, and now she's saying plural, brawls. I thought there was one. So he's in constant, I even remember back then, skirmishes with hotel guys and bar brawls, and I'm saying plural, and she's substantiate. As innocuous as it sounds, they're going to use that he has a side to him like that. I guarantee it. And that's
course,
got to
it'll
be
be
why
mentioned.
she's not,
That
Oh,
was
by the way,
part.
okay.
That was the reason for the machine gun listing of all of the articles that were written about him in the
Yes.
cross-examination.
Yes.
So it's already.
That's right. They were going all the way back to the late 80s during that.
Yeah, it's already laid. Foundation's laid there.
I know what I did. I know what I did with Joel Gray. And somebody in the chat, I forget who it was, said Brad Gray. So what I did was I conflated, like a moron, Brad Gray and Joel Silver. Because it's like you know what I mean? Like two super producers, and I kind of, the name Joel Gray is the byproduct of that. That's what I did.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Brad Gray had a Me Too thing, right?
What a fascinating ending, and the Howard connection. Like Howard went to his wedding, and he's sitting with Affleck, and that's one of Howard's conduits to show business. That doesn't come up nearly enough.
He passed away though, right?
Yeah, and I don't understand.
Yeah,
his death was kind of weird.
His Me Too thing came out after he died.
Yes.
Yeah, weird. Of course, that's when some of them come out. Can't wait for mine to come out after I'm dead and I can't defend myself.
Remember Brillstein and Gray? You would see it all over like HBO
Yeah.
shows and shit.
I didn't know that was him. I know nothing about Brad Gray.
Tons of like conduits to Hollywood.
I just remember Beth's gray hefty bag dress.
Yes.
She wore.
Yes. He died of canker. Maury
Canker.
Boy said. The big Brad Gray was the one who fucked it. Yes, that's right. So I just watched everybody. Judd Apatow, maybe it's the best thing he's ever done. He did a Gary Shandling documentary on HBO, and it details the Brad Gray fucking, which is why you didn't see Gary Shandling for a lot of years. That's a great one. That's right, Dorian. Thank you for that.
Oh, I learned a lot today. I did not know any of that. Get rid of that. Okay.
Yeah, Carrie Fisher's fascinating, David. I know.
That's
and again,
tragic.
she's passed away. God, what? Everyone's
Yeah.
dead. Why can't Howard be dead?
Well, pills and pills never work out when you've got a Dr. Feelgood.
And then he manages to fuse Mark Harris into everything we do. How do you fucking do that?
It's all right. It's worth it.
Oh my God, Martha Ray knew Eddie Fisher, and she knew Carrie Fisher. Not my favorite people.
Why don't you just buy me a car and forget it?
Hey, Ferry, why don't you come down to Detroit? We'll make a man out of you. Oh, really? Well, why don't you buy me a car and forget it?
You always felt bad for him with his comebacks were just so.
Oh, they were so brutal to him. And he's
I know.
such a great guest. That's Howard putting them through, too. I think Mark Harris is actually more beloved than he wasn't. I don't know anybody who dislikes him. To this day, no matter, even
love him.
homophobes.
Yeah.
I do, too. I genuinely love him.
Okay, back to Miss Gray. To was feeling miserable and powerless to get off 21 Jump Street when all he wanted was to be in movies. He became moodier and less present. I kept wondering how or if I was ever going to get that easygoing, funny, devoted, adoring guy back. Tracey was on a mission. She had to find him something to do over his hiatus, so when Crybaby came in, it was the perfect next move for him. Everything about it seemed tailor-made. It was a musical spoof on the 50s teen rebel genre. It was camp, the perfect vehicle to lampoon Johnny's pinup image.
Nobody cares.
He was still under contract for 21 Jump Street, but now he had the lead in a movie, along with a big paycheck. We decided to give up the log cabin and spend more time in my apartment in New York, but now that Johnny's career had begun to pop, we'd started looking at houses to buy in the Hollywood Hills. As time went on, it seemed that more and more, when Tracey called and I'd answer, she wasn't calling for me. I'd pass the phone to Johnny. I still wasn't seeing the perfect next part for me, and I was broke, really broke. One night early that spring in 1989, I was in LA having dinner with my mother in one of those curved booths at the Imperial Gardens. And with an all too familiar, knowing look, she said, "You really should just do your nose. It's too competitive out there. It's much harder to photograph you than Michelle Pfeiffer. It just is. You want a career? Make it easier for them." The worn business card with the surgeon's numbers from a few years back began to beckon me from the inside pocket of my Filofax.
Did you rhinoplasty?
All the arrows were pointing to this as a possible solution. I took that quickly diminishing funds that I had, and like some desperate Vegas craps player in their last gasp attempt at believing they could win it all back, I spun the wheel and played my hand. I called and made an appointment for the day after my 29th birthday. A few days before my birthday, Johnny was flown in from Vancouver to put up at the Four Seasons in West Hollywood by the studio so he could take a meeting with a director who was interested in casting him. I flew in from New York to be with him for a few days for my birthday, and then I was going to stay on in LA with my mom for my scheduled surgery. Johnny left our hotel room in the morning for his meeting, planning to be back in a few hours. I waited and waited. No phone calls, nothing. Where was Johnny? Fuck Johnny, where was Jenny? At a certain point early that evening, I left a note on the bed saying I was done. The day before my 29th birthday, I cut the cord from Tracey Jacobs. It had all gotten too toxic and confusing. I left ICM. I signed with Madonna's agent, Jane Berliner, at CAA, and I broke off my engagement with Johnny 9 months after we'd met. Yay, okay.
Gina Bobina writes, Gina Bobina, 29 is old enough to not listen to your mom. Yeah, Gina, absolutely you're right, but she had such a hold over her, and she just made her feel so... I actually felt sorry for her in that clip, telling her her nose is big, and it's even though it's her calling card and stuff, and the insecurity of... If you saw that, even worse. So now she's calling Depp, she's calling Jennifer Grey, and he has to hand the phone over... She has to hand the phone over to Depp, and she can feel Jacob's waning interest in her now. It's probably an awful feeling. And she's feeling like she's aging out of the industry. She's not getting the crazy offer she thought she was going to get for. You know, she only got $50,000 for Dirty Dancing.
Yeah, I read that somewhere.
$50,000. It's one of the most iconic female lead roles in romantic. It's not a comedy, but just what do you call it? Just romance. Musical romance of all time.
Yeah,
completely iconic.
Absolutely.
$50,000 for that.
One of the highest selling soundtracks of all time. Not like she'd have a cut of that, but
no,
you should get something. I mean, those two actors made that. You know, the dancing to that music. They heightened that music, and it just went gangbusters. That whole movie. That movie, and like, I don't want to say changed my life, but I was obsessed with it. I was 10, but you know, it happened. It was marketed properly. It was just a great movie. And yeah, I hate Time of Your Life because it's not even a appropriate time period song from 1963 like the rest of the songs are. Or Hungry Eyes. Ugh. Okay.
Now Sarah's got you in her side. So what's your favorite song from that? If you don't like that,
I actually like Love Man.
Love Man.
I'd have to look at the list, but I love it. It's so great.
Can you sing it for us?
No, I cannot.
You'll do it. You'll do it when you get up here. You'll do it.
No, okay. Topless.
I heard you loved Jerry Orbach in that more than Swayze.
No.
That's what I heard. No. Okay.
Dr. Houseman? No. I even have like the second soundtrack that was released. It was like Dirty Dancing 2 because they had so many songs they couldn't fit on the first soundtrack. So, and I think in the second one, there's like snippets of him talking. They were getting desperate for content by the time that second album came out.
She had an every girl relatability. She wasn't like super smoking hot, and she just looked like that, you know, cute girl in your high school that was a sort of understood. You may not have paid attention. And that, I think that was her appeal. I don't think women hated her. Women hate everybody, and women hate each other. And I don't think women hated her back then.
No,
so I didn't think.
I mean,
so Melvin said it made $250 million worldwide coming out in 87, which is translation to $544 million. That is a massive hit for a movie like that. With God knows, Melvin, I don't know if you could find the budget out. I bet you it's no more than $10 million.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a very low budget movie.
I wonder what Swayze got for that.
I don't know, not much, I'm sure.
He was a huge star at that time.
Mm-hmm.
They were in what's the fucking movie to get the with Charlie Sheen? Red Dawn. Thank you very much. Huge who's who of young Hollywood cast in that thing.
They hated each other through both movies.
Yep. He was goofy for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was
Martin
way
Landau
too serious.
and Jerry Orbach.
Yep. Are you ready for the next chapter?
Yeah, this is
your favorite.
This is one of my favorites. So set this up, Sarah. All you want me to do? This is an innuendo from the trial, and I got a theories up the wazoo that this Rochelle Hathaway, who Depp's side piece, to quote Bobina, he cheated on. Known her since she was 19, and she's been in and out of his life, a literal side piece, and I believe he's cheated on her with Vanessa. Every time things don't go swimmingly his way, she is on call. She is a corporate flight attendant. She is a yoga instructor. She is a dancer in Vegas. She is an Instagram model. She is a gun model. She is, what am I forgetting?
I think that's about it.
Okay, there's got to be more. But so she is on Instagram. Her name is Tanned and Traveled. They will not bring her name up in this. Amber innuendos her. I can't remember if Camille tried to shut her down. They won't bring her name up. I went and I found Amber's sister, Shitney, and I found her deposition from the UK. So she has. I went to find somebody who's not Depp or Amber Heard to bring her up to verify that. To just triple verify this. So I found the documentation of Whitney bringing her up, and this is exactly who Amber's talking about in her from Thursday, which people remember.
Mm-hmm. It's also mentioned in that audio we played where she's talking about the book. Did you write the book?
You got my book. You write the book. Little book.
Yeah. I think she says, see if Rochelle's busy or something.
Yes.
She references
and it's
her that
often
way.
yes, and you really got to pay attention to yes.
Yep. All right, here we go.
And before you say it, I have a theory that Rochelle Hathaway has enough, maybe some legal connection that threatened them to not bring her name up. That they're not inducing it. It doesn't help either one. I can't understand why the proper name isn't coming up. There's something going on. Maybe a threat, maybe some kind of gag order, no pun intended. But it's unbelievable. Her proper name will not come up.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Just to give context to who this is and who. And by the way, everybody heard there's a flight attendant story, right? And I was going, why don't they get the flight attendant to testify? Everyone's screaming that because I believe that's the flight attendant. I believe she's.
I don't think so.
Yes, it is.
I think it's made up. It's completely made up. That's why they can't find her.
You read the book.
It's one of my favorite lines you do.
I know.
Okay. Tanned and Traveled. That's her Instagram handle.
That's her Instagram handle. Everyone check it out. You'll see what you'll see what his side piece is.
Well, there's some photos that you provided me that pretty much tell you.
Okay. Can you imagine how her life would change had her name come up and the proper name is spilled and all this attention this is getting? Could you imagine how her Instagram will blow up once the name gets dropped?
Oh, God. I'm shocked. Anyway, here we go.
Because we were kind of in the bedroom together the night of the 22nd, which is when he passed out, how I found his iPad.
I'm sorry, when you...
I found his iPad open. He was texting someone with it open. He passed out. And I saw what he was texting.
Please tell the jury about that.
He was texting this woman.
Guess who?
Blake Griffin. He had a relationship with on and off. Kind of at the beginning of our relationship, so I recognized the name. But the date was right after the wedding. I saw he had gone to her house after we got married. Like, upon touching down in Los Angeles, I think it was the next day, he went to this woman's house that he has this sexual relationship with. And
what did you do as a result of seeing that on the iPad?
I freaked out. I immediately
this is the most honest
confronted
she
him
is.
about it.
Yeah.
This is all real.
You know,
I believe this.
I didn't care in that moment if he did kill me, which is likely in confronting him at that stage of our lives. I didn't even care anymore. At this moment, he had already ripped my heart out. You know, it's like I've just been through after having been through what I
Look at that Corona
went
product
through in
placement.
Australia.
There's no doubt she's getting bucks for
Just
Corona.
weeks prior, I see this. It was like
Titty effort with a Corona bottle and lime wedge jammed there.
unbelievably painful. Unbelievably painful.
So she's cheating
What did
too.
you do?
She's also cheating, right?
Yelling at him.
That doesn't count.
No.
So just yelling. I was calling him all these ugly names. I was screaming at him. Told him to get the fuck out of the house. That's what I said. Excuse my language. But
okay. So demure.
We were screaming at each other. At some point, we were upstairs in penthouse 3, and we kind of get into a how do you describe it? Pushing each other, you know. And I just remember being so mad at him for cheating
She's winding
on
up.
me and doing so in this way, like right after the wedding. And then right after my wedding, go to see him, and then Australia happens, and it just felt like everything came crashing down. And
I love his reactions.
This is why the side by side's great.
Anyway, we
should be mandatory.
I break out of his grasp at some point, and I go into my sister's room. The apartments in the ECB are connecting. At least 3 of them are.
With a little update, Sarah, Melvin, thank you for that. Dirty Dancing, $4.5 million budget.
Yeah.
And look at what it made.
Mm-hmm.
Are you kidding me?
I know, it's crazy.
Is there more percentage profit than that? Holy shit. Wow. So what about that, Sarah? I got a theory. No, what is that? How does it go? No hath fury as a woman scorned.
Mm-hmm.
I have a theory that she upped her game, the succubus meaning. I think this scam got amped up because she was cheated on. I think that this brought her to another level. I think that woman scorn thing could not be more applicable than this. And it's kind of glossed over, and I think that's bullshit. I think this triggered her to go the extra yard on the scam. I really believe that.
It's possible.
It just hit me
She was
today.
embarrassed.
She was embarrassed, and I think that woman scorn thing is so true in so many ways that I think this moved her to another level. She might have not gone, she might have said, yeah, whatever. Been a see you next Tuesday, but not like this. And I think she went forward with the scam because of this. I think this drove her. This is the most truthful she's been in the whole trial.
Mm-hmm. She, meanwhile, we've said it a million times, she's bringing multiple men into their bed.
Right. She's right.
While he's out of town.
Doesn't count, but that doesn't count.
Nope. Completely erased from the mind.
Who cheated first? I honestly don't know. But she's certainly,
Well, if you count Kevin Costner while they were engaged, her attempting to get into Kevin Costner's trailer.
Melvin writes, tan and travel equates to must be completely shaven from navel to anus at all times. leave it to Melvin to take it to the gutter. Arnold, strong numero uno. The thumbnails for this video are everything. Agreed. Sarah did such a good job juxtaposing these thumbnails, and I went to her Instagram and I just picked the kind of Her as a stewardess and her as a bikini model, and throwing them, and Sarah put them masterfully as you blended the audio with it. David writes, Uncle Buck is great. Breakfast Club is hands down the best. John Hughes. Yeah, John Hughes is the master. Sunflower Dragon. She saw she had gone to her house, and the next day, from looking at the texts, I think Depp's such a Luddite that she had a habit of going through all his shit all the time,
He
and he
probably
had
had no
no idea.
password or
No
told her the
password.
password on the
His
phone.
password is Hunter S. Thompson.
Oh, God.
Straight through.
God. Totally true, I'm sure. So this is Whitney Enriquez, her statement of truth, quote unquote.
From
And this is
the
where she
UK.
mentions, Rochelle Hathaway. So I hate to torture you all with another reading, but I'll read it real quick. It's
Andrew
short.
Morgan agrees. Don't cheat on a woman and don't mess with a mother's kids. All transgressions are survivable, in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
Interesting take on. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah. Okay. At this time, we were all living in the Eastern Columbia building, I'm assuming. I lived in Penthouse 4, which was next to Penthouse 3, where Amber and Johnny lived. Amber's best friend Rocky and her boyfriend were next door in Penthouse 1. My apartment was connected by a door to Penthouse 3 and was easily accessible to Johnny and Amber. She or Johnny would often come into my apartment to ask me to intervene in whatever fight they were having, hence my marriage counselor nickname. This particular night, Amber came in and she was crying and screaming, "Can you fucking believe this? Your brother is fucking cheating on me." Johnny and I called one another brother and sister.
Yes.
This argument was sparked as Amber said she had discovered Johnny had been cheating on her with a woman called Rochelle Hathaway. Apparently, this had been going on for some time, and even after he and Amber were married, I didn't know then how she knew this, but I went to find Johnny to talk to him to figure out what was going on. I was so rippy because Amber woke me up and got me out of bed. ... So that's the mention of Rochelle Hathaway. Tandon
So
travels.
it is confirmed by her sister in 3 other transcripts. When he's grilled in the UK, she comes up 3 times, and I believe in Amber's Amber's definitely brings it up. So it's just constantly coming up. But this name has not been dropped yet in the Fairfax trial, and it drives me fucking batty. And I just think there's something going on behind the scenes. We're the only ones bringing it up. Period. And all these posers that are trying to latch on to this trial for clickbait, we're the only ones bringing this name up. And this isn't some brag. This is such an essential element. I really believe that Hoth women's scorn thing is completely at the genesis of all this. I really believe this is the fuel to her fire. That's just my theory. I'm gonna run with it.
Okay,
Truly
well, I don't
am.
blame you because that's absolute truth. Let me get rid of this.
And I
Okay.
want to say this about Shitney. Our next show, and it's tough to find because I got to go through all the testimonies from the UK. In case you don't realize, like, why isn't? Oh, Sarah, you should explain the Whitney and what's going on with her in Fairfax first before I do.
You talking about the testimony?
Yes, and
Okay.
incomplete and.
She sat for a deposition and left the deposition about midway through before Depp's team could ask her questions. Because she did that, she may not be able to testify for Amber.
She freaked out in the middle of, or a fake freak out, like a histrionic fit.
Probably fake.
Faint spells and the whole thing. And she was halfway through before Depp's team could drill her.
Mm-hmm. So if she doesn't testify, that's a massive hit to Amber Heard. That's her main witness.
I think the 2 things she's trying to avoid is the fight when she admits on some reality show that Amber was beating on her all the time. Her older sister is my baby sister. And I also, this is a huge thing. It has not come, again, you're only going to hear it here. The reason she was kicked out of the penthouses in the Eastern Columbia building, she was caught selling pictures to the rags, to TMZ, from their secret wedding on Deppstein Island. And they busted her, and they were kicking her out of the place because of it. Both of them were. And that's also what they're terrified of having brought up.
Yeah. There's also video from we probably mentioned it, but from a reality show that she appeared on. I don't know the story.
And her friends are drilling her on why Amber kicked your ass, and didn't you fight back? And she's like, I don't want. She literally sounds like Louisiana Britney Spears. Like she's got a deep Southern accent.
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, yes, just like that.
I know it's weird, but yeah, she apparently comes out. They're all sitting around a pool. I don't even know what this
Yeah, it's
reality
exactly
show
right. No,
is.
you're exactly. I don't know what it is either, but you're right. They're sitting around a pool like every fucking Vanderpump Rules reality show where there's a constant pool party, and in the middle, 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Wednesday.
Yeah, I don't know if Amber was on the show too. I don't know, but she comes out to be in the scene with them, and Whitney's got bruises on her. You can't really see it on camera, but they can see it. And then that's when they go off. I can't believe Amber. Oh, sorry, wrong accent. I can't believe Amber beat the shit out of you. And that's when she goes. She doesn't want to talk about it. So I'm sure that's probably going to be used. Yeah, she is definitely afraid. And Kate James mentions her too when she was
Stealing
giving
the
her
story.
deposition.
Yeah.
That they treated her like Amber's family treated Whitney like, the beaten dog, probably literally.
What you're gonna have now, and we've seen a bunch of it, is now. I said this to someone when I brought up the fabulist in the story. So now people are now digging every time the succubus speaks. We're talking about her stealing plot lines to movies. So it's Gone Girl. It is now Talented Mr. Ripley, which I remember being really bored with when I watched it. And I guess there's elements of that movie. She's saying so. There's constant movies coming up now where people are recognizing, which I effed up. I was supposed to have it. I'll do it next time. She brought up Depp smashing a phone over and over again. It's completely mimicking him in Blow when he is shut out of the life of Penelope Cruz and his daughter, and he's frustrated in jail, and he smashes the phone on the glass. It's exactly from that. So I was supposed to get that clip, and I vapor locked and didn't write it down. I'll get it next time.
But speaking of the phone, she mentions that because she says he cut his finger off smashing the phone. And her description of this phone that nobody can find, there was no remnants of the phone. She said he kept smashing it into the wall until it disappeared. What?
Yeah.
It vaporized. I don't know.
So Ayla writes, Whitney, Franco, and Teflon. What witnesses does she have left? So
Well,
you knew they'd wiggle out of it. You knew it from. I mean, I knew it from the day they were announced. I go, they're not. There's no. I knew it. I knew as soon as they were announced they weren't going to go through with it.
She
Two
still
fucking
has
weasels.
the Penthouse co-conspirators via deposition. Rocky Drew. Rocky.
Josh Drew.
Josh, thank you. Rocky Josh. Who else?
Rocky Pennington.
Maybe
Ellen
one of her other
Barkin.
rat
Ellen
friends.
Barkin
Barkin,
is
yeah.
one of her key witnesses that the claim that she had. Again, all they have to prove is subtle abuse. The word abuse is whatever you want it to mean. And if Barkin's going to try to back that up, and that one is a crazy, crazy ass cougar, and I could see her really laying it on thick in a way. That they found someone crazy enough to testify and not give a shit. And Tracey Jacobs, Depp's ex-agent, is her star witness, and they are saving that for I guess the last week.
Yeah, I would imagine toward the very end, like what Depp did, focusing on the financials toward the very end.
Financials and the stuff with the kids.
Yeah.
But she's completely privy. She's a key, she knows him lying to the cops, which speaks to her credibility, his credibility.
I have to interrupt you.
You're lying to the cops.
Look at that.
Yes, thank you, David. Again,
David,
go to you.
I love you. I can't thank you enough.
How do you not? And we do a dunk,
God.
Right?
No, I love David.
And
there was a question. I apologize. I'm trying to go ahead. I'm thinking.
No, he played the Viper Room.
That's right.
He's playing the Viper Room. I guess they're going out. Viper Room's closing and being taken about. David's playing the Viper Room as the main act.
Yeah, Rocky's not her friend anymore. I don't know if that's verified. I hope so.
No one's her friend.
I wish if you discovered like the truth, you could just say you had a revelation where you discovered she was lying. You could like withdraw your deposition. I don't think you can do that though.
I got a question. Wow. Now we're all one of the many things this trial is doing to educate us is we're becoming attuned to a lot of psychological terms and so the borderline personality disorder and histrionic personality disorder How many women do you suppose have that innately anyway? Do you think it's much
Most.
higher than we
I
realize?
probably do.
You think every woman has that to some
I'm
lesser
not saying
degree?
every
Not
woman,
every
but
woman. Not every woman.
many. I could be one. I don't know. Mine could be to a lesser degree.
Is
I
it
don't know.
because you can
I've
get away
embellished.
with it? Is it because
I don't know.
you can use your feminine wiles and you've been programmed to do it your whole life to get away with it, and people buy your bullshit because you're batting your eyelashes and you're just hot enough to know what you can get away with? Is
Mhm.
it kind of such a hyper self-awareness of what your feminine wiles can manipulate in this
Mhm.
life?
Let me address this one too before I lose it
Yep.
in the chat. One of her friends, Fomke, I can never say this right. I'm so sorry.
That's it. You're saying it.
Fomke?
That's
Okay.
exactly right.
Says one of her friends is telling on her, not sure who. I think it's the stylist. I think that's who they're referring to because I know what you're talking about. There was an Umbrella Guy video where the headline, of course, is her friend is betraying her. I think it's the stylist who says that at the James Corden appearance, there was no
Yes.
injury whatsoever. And she
Yes.
overheard Amber telling Rocky, make sure you get those photos on my computer.
They're obsessed with that James Corden appearance.
Yeah.
And again,
Well,
that's one of the women that you also feel she's stealing stories from to use as her own.
mm-hmm.
Sexual misconduct and rape stories and whatever she can throw out.
Mm-hmm. Fomka. Okay.
Okay.
Scott Balow. Fomka. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, you got anything else?
Anything else, Robin?
Nope. Let's get out of
Okay.
here.
I want to say happy. Well, yeah, because it's Mother's Day. We want to let them
Yeah,
feel
absolutely.
you need to hang here. Happy Mother's Day to each and every one of you broads. I don't care if you have kids or animals, and I really mean that. Being a mom is a full-time job unless you're Laura Heardzilla. And Sarah, how do you close this?
Oh God. This is
Forearm.
Sarah.
Forearm.
I'm doing it. Forearm saying no time is a fantastic time for goodbye. I love
Thank
you
you,
all.
everyone.
Happy Mother's Day.
See you on Gunk and Thursday.
Yes.